What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Omni-sensei here with What If I Was Reborn in DC as Batman x Iron Man? Part 3. If you enjoy this type of content, please gently waterboard the like button. Justice for Gotham. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Remember to check out the original story linked in the description. Without further ado, let's get into the legend of the Dark Knight. After the successful flight test of the Iron Man suit, Bruce and Lucius Fox were ready to make the necessary modifications and improvements to ensure the suit's durability and performance. Bruce had removed the suit and was inspecting the circuits that had melted during the test flight. He turned to Fox and said, "We need to find a material that can handle the heat and power requirements. Something lightweight yet incredibly durable." Fox nodded in agreement. "We could explore advanced alloys or carbon composites. They have the strength-to-weight ratio we need. The challenge is finding a material that won't restrict your mobility and can handle the energy output." Bruce tapped his chin in thought, then looked at the blueprints of the Iron Man suit. "What if we modify the design slightly to disperse the heat more efficiently? We could add cooling systems in key areas to prevent overheating. And as for the body, how about titanium or titanium gold alloy?" He considered Bruce's suggestions, studying the blueprints thoughtfully. The idea of adding cooling systems is a good one. It can help regulate the temperature within the suit. As for the body, titanium could be a viable option. They are lightweight and have excellent heat resistance. We'd need to run some simulations to determine the most efficient placement of cooling systems and to test the suitability of these materials. Bruce nodded, agreed. "Let's start by running simulations to optimize the cooling system's placement. Once we have that, we can look into sourcing the materials and making the necessary modifications." He turned to the central computer in the research facility. "Jarvis, we need to run simulations to optimize the cooling systems in the suit. Focus on heat dispersion and energy efficiency. We're also considering using titanium or titanium gold alloy for the body. Can you begin the simulations?" Jarvis's voice chimed in, "Of course, sir. I'll start the simulations and provide you with the results as soon as they're ready." Fox watched in amazement as Jarvis initiated the complex simulations with precision and efficiency. He couldn't help but express his admiration. "Bruce, you've created something remarkable here. You're the first human to develop an AI of this caliber. It's truly impressive." He smiled, appreciating Fox's words. Jarvis is a work in progress. He is still in stage 1 of information gathering. It will take a couple of months before it can perform with 90 to 98% accuracy and 80% faster than now. If you don't mind me asking, why me? You could have chosen anyone, but why put your trust in me?" Fox asked as he slumped back on the chair. "Gut feeling," he smiled. "And the fact that Dad trusts you and you haven't tried to misuse the arc reactor like the others. So I will take my chance with you. And what are you going to do next with all this tech and power?" Fox asked with a serious expression. He wanted to know his goal. Bruce continued to study the simulations on the computer screen while considering Fox's question. Finally, he looked at Fox and said, "Lucius, I have a vision. With this technology and power, I want to make the world a better place. There's so much darkness and corruption out there, and it's time someone took a stand against it. Gotham will be my starting point." He took a deep breath and continued, "But there is only so much that I can do alone. I want to create an organization, a league of heroes, if you will. People with exceptional abilities and a shared commitment to maintaining peace on Earth. You have already heard of the metahumans, right? They don't have anyone to guide them. Some kill themselves, while others turn to the crime world. And a handful are hiding in the shadows, waiting for someone to save them. You want to help them, show the world they aren't freaks but human." Fox took off his glass and placed it on the table. Bruce nodded. "This is my first mission, Lucius. With my brain, we have knowledge. With Jarvis, we have intellect. With your support, we have resources. And with a team of heroes, we can change the world for the better." Fox nodded, a sense of purpose and excitement filling him. "When was the last time I got this excited?" "A bigger purpose. technology and heroes to change the world. Maybe, I will eventually get to know where he gets all these ideas from. But more importantly, his goal is big. A new wave of change is what this world needs right now. I'm in, Bruce. Let's make this vision a reality. I'll help you create the technology and the infrastructure we need for this organization. But if one day you sway from your path, feel free to put a bullet in my head. He extended his arm toward Fox. They shook hands. With their shared vision and commitment to making the world a better place, Bruce and Lucius Fox continued their work to optimize the Iron Man suit's design, including the placement of cooling systems and the choice of materials. Over the next 2 weeks, they made significant progress. The simulations helped them fine-tune the cooling systems, ensuring that the suit could handle the heat and power requirements without overheating. They also sourced the necessary materials, including titanium gold alloy, for the suit's body. The modifications and improvements were carefully implemented, and the suit's performance continued to improve. 1 week later, after a period of intense work and meticulous adjustments, the Iron Man suit had undergone a remarkable transformation. The changes and upgrades had elevated the suit to a new level of perfection. Bruce and Lucius Fox stood before the sleek, enhanced suit, a sense of accomplishment and pride filling the room. The Iron Man suit now gleamed with a titanium gold alloy body, providing both durability and a stunning appearance. The cooling systems had been optimized to efficiently disperse heat, ensuring that the suit could operate at peak performance without any risk of overheating. And they have also added weapons to the suit. Bruce couldn't help but admire the suit's new design. Now this is what I call a work of art. The modifications have made a world of difference. With this level of heat resistance and power efficiency, we can push the suit to its limits without any concerns. Fox nodded in agreement. The suit is now a technological marvel. It's lightweight, durable, and capable of withstanding the harshest conditions. You'll have the upper hand in any situation. You can even survive in the space for 20 minutes without any malfunction. The Iron Man suit, combined with Jarvis's evolving capabilities, would serve as the foundation for their vision of creating a league of heroes. With this remarkable technology, they were one step closer to making a significant impact on the world. Bruce stepped into the Iron Man suit once again, feeling the snug yet comfortable fit of the titanium gold alloy body. He activated the suit systems, and with a whir of its repulsors, he took to the air, hovering effortlessly above the ground. "Jarvis, show me the weapon system." Jarvis responded promptly, "Of course, sir." The suit is equipped with an arsenal of advanced weaponry. It includes repulsor beams, uni-beam projection, miniguns, and micro-missile launchers. You can access the weapon controls through your neural interface. Simply think of the weapon you want to activate, and it will respond accordingly. He flew toward the target zone where he had been practicing with the weapon tests for the past weeks. He mentally activated the repulsor beams, and 2 intense energy blasts shot out from the palms of the suit, creating small explosions as they impacted a target. Uni-beam projection, Bruce thought, and a powerful energy beam emanated from the chest of the suit, cutting through a reinforced steel wall with ease. Finally. "Just you wait, Black Mask bastard. I'm gonna split you in half." 2 days later, Bruce has also been developing a suit for Selina in private. A suit with immense durability, yet light and elastic, which will help her take advantage of her agility and fighting techniques. He wants to surprise her with a sleek black suit. She is gonna look too hot in this suit. Bruce continued his work on the special suit he was crafting for Selina. He wanted it to be perfect, a blend of aesthetics, durability, and functionality. The sleek black catsuit he had designed was truly a masterpiece. The material used was a unique blend of advanced fabrics and microfibers, providing both flexibility and resistance to wear and tear. It clung to the body like a second skin, accentuating every curve and contour, enhancing Selina's natural grace and agility. The suit was designed to allow for a wide range of movement, ensuring that it wouldn't hinder her acrobatics and combat skills. He had also incorporated a few special features into the suit. It had a concealed utility belt that could hold a variety of tools and gadgets, a pair of retractable claws that could be extended from the wristband, metal claws that were strong enough to slice through regular metal, advanced goggles with Jarvis's integrated system to help her get all the info she needs, and a built-in communicator that would allow her to stay in contact with the team during missions. He stood before the suit encased in a glass container as if it were on display. Bruce admired his handiwork, pleased with how it had turned out. He could imagine her wearing it, looking like a true femme fatale. Looking good now for her whip, he turned his attention to crafting a collection of whips for Selena to use in various situations. Each whip was carefully designed to serve a specific purpose, enhancing her versatility and effectiveness in the field. The first whip was a standard bullwhip, made of durable leather with a weighted tip. It was a versatile tool that could be used for precision strikes, disarming opponents, or as a grappling hook for swift escapes. The second whip was a coiled whip, featuring multiple intertwined leather strands and small metal blades. This design allowed for a wider range of impact, making it effective for crowd control and lethal at the same time. Add a little poison to the blades, and enemies will fall like flies. The third whip was a shorter, specialized whip with electrified tips. It was designed to deliver a stunning shock to opponents, temporarily incapacitating them without causing serious harm. Or there is a mode to dump enough current in her opponent to roast them like a chicken if the need arises. Bruce took great care in the construction of each whip, ensuring they were not only functional but also elegant. The handles were designed with a combination of leather and advanced materials, providing a comfortable grip while maintaining a sense of style. I will make energy whips later. I need to test the limit of the reactor on a real fight before I make them, he thought. After he finished the last whip, he looked at the collection with a sense of satisfaction. These tools, combined with the sleek catsuit, would make Selena a hot assassin or fighter. With everything prepared, he couldn't wait to surprise Selena with her new suit and arsenal of whips. All right, everything is done. Time to give her the surprise. There are only 2 days left before the event. He turned on the news. But there isn't anything new except for the fact that the GCPD has captured a group of gangs and some unidentified dead bodies they found in the sewer system. They didn't even mention which gang. Might as well ask Alana for details. She must know the present situation with the Black Mask gang. Or, I can just test out Jarvis. Bruce's mind raced with possibilities. He contemplated whether to contact Alana to gather information about the current situation with the Black Mask gang or to take a more direct approach and have Jarvis hack into the GCPD's database for updates. With time running out before the Wayne Enterprises car show, he needed the most up-to-date information to deal with the situation. Turning to the AI, he said, "Jarvis, I need to know what's going on with the GCPD's recent operation against the Black Mask gang. Can you hack into their system and gather any relevant information, such as their current status, the identities of those captured, and any connections they've uncovered?" Jarvis responded promptly, "Of course, sir. I will initiate the hack and retrieve the information you require. Please stand by." The AI initiated the hack, and within moments, he had gained access to the GCPD's database, specifically the records of the recent operation against the Black Mask gang. As the information started pouring in, Bruce quickly scanned through it. The first piece of news that caught his attention was the revelation that the gang members captured in the operation were not local to Gotham. They were from outside the city, which was obvious to him. Nothing new. As for the footage, he then viewed the footage from the bomb disposal squad's efforts in the sewer system. He watched as they carefully located and disarmed the C4 explosives that had been planted, replacing them with fake bombs. "Jarvis, bring out the footage of the power station from last month and match the description of the ones GCPD caught and the unidentified dead bodies found in the sewer system," he ordered as he took a sip of coffee and slumped back on his chair. Affirmative. Jarvis complied with his request, cross-referencing the information from the GCPD's operation with the footage of the power station from the previous month. The AI analyzed the data and soon provided Bruce with a comprehensive report. "Sir, I have matched the descriptions of the individuals captured by the GCPD and the unidentified dead bodies found in the sewer system with the individuals present at the power station last month. They all belong to the Black Mask's gang," the AI reported. "Additionally, the cause of death for the unidentified dead bodies in the sewer system has been identified as poisoning," Jarvis continued. "Interesting. Looks like Dad listened to my deduction back then. Now that he has stopped 2 potential parts of his plan, that masked bastard must be desperate to create another distraction. A bigger one at that for their escape plan. With only 2 days left. What the hell are they after?" He wondered. The reactor? Or something else? Whatever it is going to be fun for sure. "Jarvis, keep an eye on the situation. If there are any further developments or if the GCPD manages to uncover additional information about the gang, notify me immediately. And run a scan for Roman Sionis. Search every corner of the city if you have to," he ordered. Wayne Manor, Selena's third-person POV. Selena had decided to surprise Bruce by baking a cake, despite not being an expert in the kitchen. She thought it would be sweet to do something for him. She donned an apron and began gathering the necessary ingredients for the cake. She had a recipe book open on the counter, and she was determined to follow it to the letter. She wanted to ask Maggie for help, but decided not to since she wanted to do this herself. She carefully followed the recipe in the book, mixing the ingredients, preheating the oven, and following each step precisely. With the cake in the oven, Selena decided to set a timer. The scent of the cake baking in the oven filled the kitchen, and Selena couldn't help but smile, feeling a sense of accomplishment. It was a small gesture, but she hoped it would bring a smile to Bruce's face when he saw the surprise she had prepared for him. Martha entered the kitchen and watched Selena with an appreciative smile as she worked diligently on the cake. "How's it going?" "Oh, good. Actually better than I imagined," Selena replied as she checked the timer. "So, did he ask you on a date yet?" Martha's question made Selena blush and nervous. She smiled awkwardly, her voice stuttered. What? What do you mean, Mom?" Martha chuckled. "Come on, Selena. You two have been spending a lot of time together lately whenever he isn't busy. It's pretty obvious that there's something going on between you two. And besides, I'm your mother, I can tell these things. So, spill the beans. Did he ask you out or not?" She sighed and shook her head. "Yeah, he did, but She almost spoke about the assassination incident, but she held herself back. "But? Come on. Tell me. I won't judge. Just between us girls." She urged her to continue. "After the event, we will go on a date," Selena revealed. Martha smiled and gave her a hug. "That's my girl. Good for you. I knew Bruce would come around eventually." The timer went off, interrupting their conversation. Lunchtime, Selena's first-person POV. I waited nervously as Bruce took a spoonful of cake, his brow furrowed in concentration. My heart was racing, and I couldn't help but be concerned. Did I mess up the cake? Did it taste bad? Bruce's expression remained neutral for a moment, and then he finally spoke. The tension in the room seemed to hang in the air as we all waited for his next words. My palms were sweaty, and I nervously glanced at Mom Maggie, and back to Bruce, my eyes pleading for his honest opinion. Mom told me he was going to like it. The smell was good, but I am not so sure about the taste. What if it's too sweet for his taste? I should have tasted a little before. What if it was too weird for him? Finally, he broke the silence. "Who baked this cake? It tastes different." "How is it?" Maggie immediately blurted. He glanced toward her, a small smile playing on his lips. "It's different in a good way, Maggie. You've certainly improved your baking skills. It's quite delicious." Bruce must have thought Maggie baked it since she had been taking lessons to become a chef. She giggled, nudging my arm. "See," Mom smiled, giving me a slight nod. "I told you it's going to be just fine. Have some faith in yourself." Wait. He noticed my smirk. Just look at his face. His eyes locked onto mine, a mix of amusement and curiosity in his gaze. He asked, his tone holding a note of surprise. I couldn't hold back a mischievous grin as I nodded. "Guilty as charged," I replied, feeling a surge of pride at his compliment. His smile widened, and he took another bite, savoring the flavors. "I'm impressed, Selena. You've got quite the skill for baking." I wouldn't have guessed. I shrugged playfully. "Well, there are many sides to me, Bruce. You're just scratching the surface. You might just find them if you look a little closer." Mom chuckled at our banter, happy to see the positive atmosphere at the table. "It's wonderful to see you three getting along so well. And Selena, this is a delightful surprise. Maybe you can bake more often," she suggested with a wink. "Or maybe she and Bruce could cook something together, next time," Maggie said after taking another spoonful of cake. "You want me to cook?" He raised her brows. "Why not?" Mom said, "Don't tell me that my genius son can only tinker with machines, but not cook." "Of course I can. It's just..." He frowned in confusion. "Just what?" She gave a sarcastic smile. "Too big a job for you." I had to stifle a giggle at her teasing, while Bruce, on the other hand, could barely hide his amused grin. "There is nothing too challenging for the famous Wayne's genius mind," he boasted. "Well, since you know so much about cooking, you can teach us, Selena," Mom decided with a wide smile. "And don't you dare look at Maggie. She had her training coming up next week. Bruce and I exchanged a quick glance. Thank you, Mom. You just helped me spend more time with him. Hee. HAA. Fine. He finally caved. I guess there isn't a problem. We'll cook something one evening. After our delightful lunch, I was planning to spend the afternoon in my room, watching a movie or maybe practicing some of my combat moves in the secret training area. It was supposed to be a relaxing break from my usual training routine. However, Bruce had other plans. As I was about to head towards my room, I felt a gentle tug on my arm. As soon as I turned back, he swooped in and stole a kiss from me. I couldn't hold my gasp as warmth bloomed inside my chest, and I was overwhelmed by the sweet gesture. Then he quickly took me in his arms and dashed into his room. I could only stare at him with surprise as he locked the door, a wild gleam in his eyes. Bruce's first-person POV. Ah, there she is. I quickly swooped in to steal a quick kiss from Selena and swiftly snaked my arm around her waist to prevent her escape, although I already knew that it wouldn't take her long to recover. So before she could react, I took her up in my arms and dashed inside my room, locking the door in the process. I couldn't hold in a grin, all too aware of my beautiful stunned girlfriend still wrapped safely in my arms. Her closeness did the things to me that I had never dreamed possible before meeting her. Well, what are you doing so suddenly? She stuttered cutely. I was surprised to see her completely off guard. Maybe stealing kisses was just the perfect choice of attack. I couldn't resist teasing her. A sly smirk curved at the corner of my mouth. Am I being sudden? I purred. A startled gasp left her lips, and it sounded like the melody of a song I couldn't get out of my head ever since our meeting. I continued teasing, my voice sounding so different to my ears than when she last heard me. I had just seen something rather delightful. How can I simply ignore that? And, a moment earlier, didn't you say that I can always look a bit closer? That's not what I... Her cheeks flushed, and she stuttered in response. She tried to clear things up, but her nervousness made it worse for herself. I meant that you should look at me, not at me. Oh. A chuckle escaped my lips at her adorableness. Slightly brushing her long silky strands from her ear, I whispered, Well, it was not like you didn't say I should look at you. Yes, no, she whimpered, and her bright green eyes glanced up to meet mine, her breath slightly taken away. We can't do it right now. Mom and Maggie are in the other room, she mumbled, struggling to even find words. Her adorable response almost melted my heart and sent an unfamiliar emotion shooting straight to my core. How can she say the things that make my mind go wild while appearing as such an angel? Do what? I teased with a wide-eyed faux innocent look. I haven't done anything inappropriate. Selena glared, catching on to the fact I was trying to play with her, and then she drew me forward, closing the distance between us, until her lips were closer to mine. She slightly licked my lips. Mum, you want to play games with me? How dare you challenge me in my territory? She chuckled in my ear, her voice sending an electrifying jolt up my spine. For a moment, I was frozen in my place, forgetting to respond or react. Oops, it seems I broke you. Selena snickered, teasing, pleased by my shocked look. You are pretty confident. I smirked, wrapping my hands around her hips to draw her body closer, and then quickly finding the pressure points behind her knees, I effortlessly picked her up. What? But... Her eyes widened with a mix of shock and panic. She tried to escape by gently wiggling her legs or by pressing her elbows, yet all her attempts were rendered useless, as I effortlessly kept her close to my body. And here I thought I would give you the special gift I prepared for you, I said, glancing at the right desk where a big suitcase stood, hiding a perfect surprise for Selena. Guess I was wrong. Let's put you somewhere, I smiled mischievously. Wait, what's in there? She glanced with a curious spark in her eyes. Her desire to have a quick glimpse was battling her struggle. I guess I have no option, do I? She asked, tilting her head slightly as if pleading with those magnificent eyes that I always fell prey to. Nope. I want a bribe if you want to take a peek, kitten, I teased again. What are you gonna have me do? She asked seductively. My eyes lowered to meet hers, and I smiled at my cunning Selena. Well, you'll find out after you open the briefcase, I said as I let her go. She was eyeing the suitcase again. This time, her curiosity was too overbearing. The room was filled with a sense of anticipation as Selena's curious gaze lingered on the mysterious suitcase in the corner of the room. Bruce couldn't help but enjoy the playful banter and the mischievous glint in her eyes. He had prepared a special surprise for her, and now the moment had arrived to reveal it. All right, kitten. Time to unveil the mystery, he said with a smirk, gesturing towards the suitcase. Selena approached the suitcase with a mix of excitement and curiosity. Her nimble fingers worked swiftly to unlock it. As she opened the case, her eyes widened in surprise at the sight before her. A dress. She took it out and held up the sleek black catsuit, her eyes widening with a mix of astonishment and delight. The material shimmered in the bright sunlight entering the room, and the craftsmanship was impeccable. "What's this?" she asked, a playful smile forming on her lips. Bruce stepped closer, his own grin matching hers. "Consider it a little something I whipped up for you. It's not just any suit, it's designed for agility, durability, and of course, a touch of style." "Oh Bruce, I never knew you had such a fetish," Selena purred, teasing. "You are into cosplay." "Wow. I beg your pardon," he chuckled. "You secretly made this catsuit for me because you want to see me in it," she explained with a wide smirk. "I can tell by your face, you are imagining me wearing this right now." "Tisk tisk, Selena, you're jumping to conclusions too fast." He shook his head in fake disapproval, though he couldn't deny her words. His mind did wander to imagine how perfect she would look in it. "Although I won't deny that I designed this catsuit thinking about you," he admitted with a charming smile. She grinned, clearly satisfied with his answer. She hugged the catsuit tightly to her chest and closed her eyes, taking in its scent. She opened her eyes. "Wanna see me wear it?" she teased with a wink. "Maybe lend a hand?" "You know." Bruce walked over to her and took the catsuit from her hand. He placed it on the bed and turned toward her. He then unbuttoned the first 2 buttons on her shirt, revealing her neckline. Selena gasped in surprise at his bold action. He traced his finger along her collarbone, sending shivers down her spine. His deep blue eyes locked onto hers. Neither of them could look away, captivated by each other. "Yes," Bruce whispered seductively into her ear. His warm breath sent goosebumps across her skin. "I will lend you a hand." His finger traced down near her cleavage line before stopping near the 3rd button on her shirt. He slowly began undoing it, exposing more of her bare flesh. She bit her lip, enjoying his touch. Slowly, he unbuttoned her shirt and dropped it on the floor, revealing her black bra hugging her ample melons tightly. His eyes wandered over her body hungrily. "She is damn hot." His fingers traced her cleavage line down to her belly button. Selena let out another soft gasp as his index finger reached lower until he stopped right above the waistline of her pants. He moved his fingers above, exploring her well-toned stomach muscles. "Sorry," she mumbled. "For what?" he asked curiously, tracing the muscles she earned from training. "You know, my body. I gained some muscles and am not that soft anymore," she confessed shyly, looking away. He hummed, continuing to explore her body. "You call these muscles? These are barely noticeable." Selena blushed slightly, feeling embarrassed. Bruce leaned closer and kissed her stomach softly, causing her heart rate to increase rapidly. Her breathing became heavy as his kisses trailed upwards towards her chest. She moaned softly when he pushed his face between her melons. He inhaled deeply, savoring her feminine scent before pulling away. "Bruce." She called his name breathlessly. "What are you doing?" "Nothing," he replied innocently while grabbing hold of her belt buckle and pulling it loose. Selena gulped nervously as he unzipped her pants and pulled them down slowly, revealing her white undies underneath. He knelt before her and removed both her shoes. Once finished, he stood up and gazed at her body once again. It's not the first time he's seen her naked or had intimate sessions. Yet, she still felt self-conscious under his intense stare. "Turn around," he commanded with a smile. She obeyed without question and turned around so he could admire every inch of her backside. Bruce admired her perfect rear, covered only by the thin fabric. "How is it?" she asked, nervously waiting for his response. Bruce smiled and placed his hands upon her hips. "Perfect," he answered honestly. "Really?" She giggled happily. "Prove it." He kissed her shoulder blade, causing goosebumps across her skin again. Then he continued kissing her back, traveling downwards until he reached the edge of her undies. Bruce tugged the elastic band gently, making sure there wasn't any resistance, before sliding it off completely. Selena blushed furiously, feeling exposed and vulnerable, standing completely bare before him. "Now what?" she inquired anxiously, unsure of what to expect next. Bruce placed his hands back upon her hips and kissed her wagon cheeks tenderly. Selena bit her lip, trying to suppress her moan of pleasure. He kissed each cheek repeatedly until finally reaching the center, where he planted one final kiss. She shuddered involuntarily, enjoying his gentle touch upon her sensitive skin. "Damn it. I want you to smash me right here, right now." She screamed internally, wanting desperately to beg him to screw her senseless. But she resisted the urge, knowing Bruce likes to take things slow. He stood up and unhooked her bra, letting it fall freely to the ground. Then he took her arm and gestured toward the long dressing mirror nearby. She followed obediently, allowing him complete control over her movements. Bruce positioned her directly facing the reflective surface. He stood behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist and resting his chin upon her shoulder. Their eyes met through their reflections. "Look at yourself, Selena," he spoke softly into her ear. "Look at how beautiful you are." Selena stared at herself, dumbfounded, unable to comprehend why he thinks she looks good. All she saw were flaws staring back at her. In her eyes, she lacked curves unlike other women her age. Her melons weren't large enough either. Her figure resembled more masculine than feminine. Bruce noticed her uncertainty and squeezed her tighter reassuringly. "Don't hide from yourself," he encouraged. "Accept who you are." She nodded weakly, agreeing to try harder. "You are beautiful," he whispered in her ears. "All you lack is self-confidence. You try to act tough all the time, hiding behind your mask. But deep inside, you are afraid of being rejected. Afraid of being hurt." Selena nodded silently, acknowledging his insightful observation. Bruce lifted his head and pressed his lips against her neck. "Let go of those fears, Selena," he urged, kissing her sensitive skin. "Trust me. Accept yourself." She closed her eyes, allowing herself to relax, completely submitting to his tender caresses. He kissed her neck passionately, while rubbing his palms across her stomach sensually. "You think you aren't as pretty as the other girls," he continued, whispering seductively. "But you are wrong. You have a unique beauty." Selena whimpered softly, enjoying the way his hands explored every inch of her body, leaving no area untouched. His fingers brushed against her pubes lightly, causing her thighs to tremble uncontrollably. Bruce nibbled playfully on her earlobe, causing her knees buckle, causing her weight shift backward. Luckily, he was standing behind her, providing support, preventing her from falling to the ground. He walked before her after giving her time to recover. "Don't look away, Bruce," she moaned breathlessly. "Please. I love your emerald iris," he confessed, kissing her eyelids lovingly. "Your sharp nose." He pecked her nose tenderly. "Your full pink lips." He trailed down, planting soft pecks along her jawline, ending at her mouth. His tongue parted her lips, forcing entry inside. Selena responded eagerly, accepting his intrusion willingly. They broke apart, panting heavily, gasping for air. "I love your melons," he declared, cupping them, squeezing firmly, earning another gasp of pleasure. "Your flat tummy." His fingers traced circles around her belly button, eliciting giggles from her. Selena laughed joyously, watching his expression change from seriousness to amusement. The electrifying sensation she felt as she watched him worship her body caused heat to pool in her core. "Bruce," she pleaded pleadingly. "I love your smooth legs." He continued, ignoring her pleas. He kissed her thighs and calves, worshipping every inch of skin available. Selena moaned loudly, losing control over her senses, completely surrendering herself entirely to his care. She watched as his face came to a stop before her crotch. She could feel his breath brushing against her folds, sending waves of ecstasy throughout her entire being. He looked up, meeting her gaze intensely. "And I love your coochie." "Well, time to put on the catsuit." He picked up the black suit from the bed. Bruce handed the sleek black catsuit to Selena, a mischievous glint still lingering in his eyes. Selena, despite the blush still tinting her cheeks, took the catsuit with a sly smile, her gaze locked with his. "Well, let's see how it fits," she said, stepping into the catsuit and pulling it up her legs. Bruce watched with a mix of anticipation and admiration as the suit clung to her like a second skin. The material accentuated every curve, enhancing her natural grace. As she zipped up the suit, he couldn't help but appreciate the sight before him. The black suit made her look both fierce and alluring. "Damn, Selena," Bruce commented, a playful grin on his face. "You look amazing." Selena smirked, running her hands over the smooth fabric. "I know," she purred, stepping close to Bruce. "But do you know what's missing?" He pulled out a plug from the case that he had made while he was making those whips. "Yeah, a tail is what's missing." Selena blushed even more at seeing the tail plug, What are you going to do with that? She asked nervously. Bruce grinned and gently ran his fingers along her jawline. Don't worry, kitten. It won't hurt much. You have to catch me first. She teased playfully as she tried to dash out, but he caught her by her right arm. She twisted around to try to get away, but he managed to grab her left arm as well. He pinned her against his chest, his arms wrapped tightly around her waist. She struggled half-heartedly for a moment before relaxing against him with a soft sigh. Strong, aren't ya? But... She kicked the floor, vaulting above Bruce's head, yanking his arms backward. Bruce grunted in pain as his shoulders popped out of their sockets. Selena landed behind him and spun around to face him, smirking triumphantly. He glared at her as he quickly pushed his right shoulder back into its socket, the familiar popping sound sending a shiver down his spine. Not bad. He complimented as he rotated his arms to make sure everything was okay. Selena chuckled, pleased with herself. I try, she replied smugly. Bruce lunged forward suddenly, grabbing her around the waist once more. He lifted her off the ground easily and tossed her onto the bed. But she swooped around him again, and her speed was like a blur. She kicked him in the back of his knee with her feet, causing him to fall forward. Selena rolled across the bed, landing gracefully on her feet. Are you holding back on me? She asked teasingly as she danced around Bruce, her movements quick and agile. Bruce chuckled as he got back onto his feet. Maybe just a little bit. He admitted as he charged towards her, hoping to pin her down once more. She jumped across the room, taking advantage of the desk and cupboards as platforms to leap around him. He chased after her, determined to catch her. They continued their game of cat and mouse around the room until Selena jumped over and sat on his neck, clutching her legs around his neck. I win, she declared proudly. Bruce growled playfully as he grabbed her thighs and tried to slam her on the wall behind him, but she spun around, her crotch right before his face. She quickly tried to get away, but he caught her waist and pushed her down on the floor. What were you saying? He smirked triumphantly as he straddled her hips, pinning her arms above her head. Selena struggled beneath him, but he held her firmly in place. I will bite you, she threatened playfully. Meow. She added with an adorable purr. Bruce laughed as he loosened his grip on her wrists. She seized the opportunity to free herself, rolling them over so that she was sitting on top of him instead. She leaned in, purring another meow before biting his neck lightly. Bruce hissed slightly as she bit him. Careful, kitty, he warned teasingly. I might bite back. Only I am allowed to bite you, she said as her lips brushed against his. She bit his lower lip gently, eliciting a groan from Bruce. She released his lip and kissed him deeply. She could feel his hands grabbing her wagons roughly, kneading them possessively. His hand slid up to unzip her catsuit slowly, revealing her bare skin underneath. Her body felt warm under his touch as he explored every inch of her skin. Dang. I can never forget this view before my eyes, Bruce admitted honestly as he saw her sitting on his waist, her front zipper open, giving him the view of her slender yet athletic body. He ran his fingers down her cleavage line up to her belly button, earning a sweet purr from her. Her melons, hiding behind the black suit, except for the little portion of her cleavage line. Be a good kitty and put the tail on. Selena smirked as she stood up, slowly removing the catsuit from her body. Bruce watched intently as she slipped the tight fabric over her hips, revealing her perfect wagon. He reached up and gave it a firm squeeze, causing her to gasp in surprise. Let me prepare it up for you. Was it good? She asked worriedly, peering up at him with her big green eyes. Was it painful? She added as she saw the scratches on his back. Bruce laughed, ruffling her hair affectionately. It was perfect, he replied reassuringly. She smiled contentedly, snuggling closer to him. The couple lay in silence for several moments before Bruce spoke again. So, you like your catsuit? He asked playfully. Selena giggled mischievously, nodding. Yes. It's very comfortable and looks cool too. But... She paused briefly, blushing slightly. Do you prefer me without it? You know, naked. She asked shyly. Bruce smiled warmly at her as he held her tight. Both, he admitted honestly, kissing her forehead. Besides, you like roleplay, huh? Selena nodded. Yes, very much. It turns me on, she replied huskily. He looked at her with a sly smirk. Wait. I know that face. What are you planning? She asked curiously. Something naughty, he answered, grinning widely. Tell me, she pleaded eagerly, eager to know more. It's a surprise, he teased her, chuckling lightly. Selena pouted cutely, punching his arm playfully. Meow, come on, tell me. She pleaded again. Nope. That cute purr won't make me change my mind, he joked, laughing heartily. Selena pouted again, but said nothing. Bruce sighed softly before continuing. Okay. Let's just say it involves oil and a white towel. Her eyes widened in realization. Bruce Wayne, don't tell me you are going to. She trailed off, blushing furiously. That's exactly what I'm planning to do, he confirmed, grinning mischievously. On our date. She asked incredulously. That's the plan, he replied while playing with her dark curls absent-mindedly. Selena stared at him speechlessly as her mind pictured the scene in her head. The mere thought sent shivers down her spine as her pulse raced wildly. She imagined herself getting a sensual oil massage from Bruce. She blushed deeply at the vivid fantasy. What are you thinking? His words brought her back to reality. Selena bit her lower lip nervously. Nothing. She replied sheepishly. Bruce smiled knowingly, raising an eyebrow questioningly. Are you sure? 'Cause you're blushing madly, he pointed out. Oh, shut up, she muttered embarrassedly, burying her face in his chest. You're making me crazy, Bruce Wayne. I know, he replied smugly, kissing the top of her head lightly. The two remained silent for several minutes, enjoying each other's presence, before Bruce finally spoke. I love you, Selena Kyle, he said affectionately, but noticed she had already fallen asleep. He slowly took her up in his arms and lay her on the bed. He took some tissues and cleaned her body. After that, he cleaned the room. All right, I'll clean up, he said satisfied, and was about to go for a nice bath, but his phone pinged with a message. It's from Jarvis. The AI has rounded up 4 locations where the Black Mask's main base of operations could be. Bruce covered Selena with a blanket and left for his secret research building. The guards his dad left for him drove him there. As they reached the entrance, Bruce activated the security protocols, ensuring that only authorized personnel could access the building. The massive doors opened with a low hum, revealing the advanced technology and equipment inside. The guards dispersed, securing the perimeter to ensure no unwanted visitors disturbed his work. Inside the research center, he walked through the dimly lit corridors. The futuristic gadgets and advanced machinery surrounded him. Jarvis welcomed him with a calm and composed voice. Welcome back, Mr. Wayne. I have gathered information on 4 potential locations for the Black Mask's main base of operations, Jarvis informed. Good work, Jarvis. Let's go through the details, Bruce replied, heading towards the central control room. The holographic screens lit up with maps, data, and potential leads. The first location was an abandoned warehouse in the industrial district. Rumors suggested it had become a meeting point for criminal activities. The second was an underground nightclub, known for its association with the underworld. It operated in the shadows, providing a perfect cover for illicit operations. The third location was an upscale penthouse owned by a reputed businessman. However, recent activities hinted at a darker side to his operations. The fourth and final location was an old, seemingly abandoned mansion on the outskirts of the city. Its dilapidated appearance contradicted the recent surge in security measures around the area. Bruce studied the information carefully, considering each location's merits and potential risks. As he scrutinized the gathered information, his sharp eyes caught a familiar name, Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot, famously known as the Penguin. Memories from the pages of Batman comics flooded his mind, reminding him of the cunning and devious nature of this particular Gotham villain. Penguin, he muttered under his breath, his mind racing to connect the dots. The mention of Cobblepot in the data raised numerous questions. Why would the Penguin be connected to the Black Mask's operations? Was he a collaborator or a competitor? How could these two formidable villains be associated with each other without conflict? Or perhaps, the Penguin was merely another pawn in a larger scheme. Either way, Bruce knew where to begin, the third location. I will wipe the name of Black Mask within 24 hours. Penguin's mansion. Penguin's house was surrounded by his trusted goons. They were armed from head to toe as if an army were ready to attack. But even the slightest opening could mean a fatal attack. Ever since he got betrayed by Black Mask and a bounty was put on his head, the fat bastard decided to seclude himself inside his property for a while before making his grand comeback. It wasn't the first time that this happened, after all. However, This time it's different. The stakes are too high. Gotham might get burned down to the ground. But he wasn't ready to give up just yet. He was sitting near his minibar, holding a glass of whiskey and reminiscing about the past. Back in the day, things were simpler, or at least easier. Sure, he is still the corrupt bastard he was, but he has much more control and power. Yet ever since that Black Mask's gang came into the picture, nothing went right anymore. First, they asked for his help, and then they just tried to blow up his domain. The memory left a bitter taste in his mouth, and soon the feelings started creeping up as his right shoulder ached from the bullet wound. That was a long night, one of the most difficult ones in his life. He escaped, but he paid a heavy price. Damn it. He gulped down the glass, soon pouring himself another drink. However, when he finally sat back, the pain spread through his body. H.A.A. That monkey-masked bastard. He took some painkillers, and after a brief moment, the effects took place as Penguin rested against the leather couch. Above his mansion, Jarvis, how's the system holding up? Bruce asked the AI. Right now, he was hovering above the mansion in his new Iron Bat, looking down at the targets below. About 50 thugs were swarming around the building as if they were expecting an all-out attack. Systems holding strong, sir. All security measures are functioning at optimal levels, Jarvis reported, the digital interface displaying the live feed from the surrounding area. Good. Let's gather some intel before making any moves, Bruce replied, activating the suit's advanced scanning capabilities. He analyzed the layout of the mansion, looking for potential entry points and the distribution of guards. His eyes narrowed as he focused on locating Penguin's exact position within the building. As he scanned, he overheard snippets of conversation among the thugs below. They were on high alert, discussing recent events and speculating about the motives of the Black Mask's gang. Bruce listened intently, hoping to gather any information that could lead him to the Black Mask and put an end to their criminal activities. The suit's augmented reality display highlighted key points of interest, including a heavily guarded entrance, a potential weak point in the mansion's security system, and a room that seemed to be receiving a significant amount of electronic activity. All right, time to cut the power. He smirked as he selected an EMP grenade from his weapon system and aimed it at the mansion's main power grid. With a precise launch, the EMP grenade landed near the power source, emitting a blinding flash of light as it detonated. The entire mansion plunged into darkness, leaving the thugs disoriented and scrambling to restore order. Activate remote control. Take over the suit and wait here. I will go in with the old style. Don't want to attract unnecessary attention. He opened the suit and jumped down. He is wearing the signature costume of Batman. He landed on top of one of the watchtowers surrounding Penguin's mansion. The shadows embraced him as he surveyed the chaotic scene below. The EMP had effectively disrupted the mansion's security systems, creating an opening for Batman to exploit. The thugs were running around with flashlights, trying to figure out the situation. He crouched silently on the watchtower, concealed within the shadows. The advanced visor in his mask glowed with a blue hue for a moment. 2 armed snipers occupied the structure, unaware of the impending threat above. He watched their movements, calculating the precise moment to strike. The thug cautiously poked his head out from behind the cover, his flashlight scanning the area for any signs of trouble. Batman took the chance to grab his partner from the other side and jabbed a batarang in his throat. I don't see anything, he said with a low, hushed tone as he turned to look at his partner. Maybe it was just a glitch. His partner didn't respond, keeping his eyes fixed on the night view in front of him. You think those Black Mask's gang bastards have found us already? The nervous thug whispered while shifting in his spot. But he didn't get any reply from his partner. Hey, why are you not? Huh. Behind him was his partner lying coughing blood. Before he could react, Batman dropped on him from behind, landing a forceful blow with the back of his gauntlet hand. The man's eyes rolled back as his body slumped into the floor unconscious. Batman moved through the darkness like a phantom, his cape billowing silently as he silently incapacitated each thug one by one. With swift and silent takedowns, he neutralized the guards on the perimeter. The unsuspecting thugs never saw him coming as he moved like a shadow, blending seamlessly with the night. His gadgets became extensions of his will, creating distractions to lure thugs away and isolating them for an easy takedown. In one corner of the mansion's grounds, he spotted a group of thugs huddled together, nervously discussing their next move. He launched a smoke pellet, enveloping the area in a thick haze. Panic ensued as the thugs stumbled over each other, blinded and disoriented. He He used their confusion to his advantage. Thermal vision mode activated. He looked at the group and took out his batarangs, and threw them. He observed the thermographic view from the HUD's augmented reality. His targeting reticule locked onto multiple thugs and his batarang struck, sending out an electrified pulse. With pinpoint precision, the stun batarang hit its mark, the shock jolting the thugs out cold and sending them dropping to the ground like flies. He quickly landed inside the smoke and dumped the bodies in the nearby bushes. Then used his back claw to silently pull up onto the second-floor balcony of the house and slipped in. He crouched behind the ornate ledges, his eyes scanning the dimly lit corridor. Armed guards patrolled the area, their footsteps echoing through the mansion's halls. He observed their patterns, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. The guards conversed in hushed tones, discussing the recent events that had thrown Gotham's criminal underworld into chaos. The microphones in his mask allowed him to pick up fragments of their conversation. Heard the Black Mask's gang is causing trouble again. Penguin's furious about the attack on his territory. Rumors about a new player in town, some guy called Deadshot or something. Deadshot. Things are moving faster than I imagined. Anyway, let's clear this floor, Bruce thought as he shifted his attention to the thug coming toward him. Batman remained hidden in the shadows, his keen senses attuned to the approaching footsteps of the thugs. As the group neared his location, he planned his moves carefully, preparing to strike with precise and efficient takedowns. The first thug passed by, oblivious to the imminent danger. With swift and silent precision, he reached out, his gloved hand covering the thug's mouth. A quick, controlled twist of the neck and the thug dropped to the floor, dead. The remaining thugs continued down the corridor, unaware of their comrade's fate. Batman blended with the darkness, moving soundlessly towards the group. His cape draped around him like a cloak of shadows, concealing his movements. He stepped on a plastic cup, making a small noise. Ha! One of the thugs suddenly turned around. There was no one. What? Another one asked. I thought I heard something, he responded, furrowing his brow. Must be a rat. Come on, let's just keep patrolling. I will ask the boss to call for pest control tomorrow. Above the ceiling, the dark silhouette loomed ominously. Shit. That's a close one, Bruce thought. He used his back claw to pull himself up just in the nick of time. As Batman hung from the ceiling, he observed the thugs patrol, their footsteps echoing softly along the corridor. As they approached his hidden location, his eyes focused under the mask, studying their motions. His strong sense of observation enabled him to predict their movements, cautiously plotting his approach. He waited for the precise moment when the thugs passed beneath him. The tension in the air was obvious as their whispered talk resonated faintly along the corridor. His concentration sharpened as he braced himself for quick action. Batman silently dropped down as the last thug walked exactly beneath him. His gloved hand came out and quickly wrapped around the thug's mouth, muffling any impending outburst. He executed a rapid and efficient takedown with measured accuracy, knocking the thug unconscious in seconds. He hid the body beneath the stairwell. Some must be left alive to spread the fear. The sudden absence of their buddy, however, did not go unnoticed by the surviving goons. They came to a standstill, exchanging puzzled looks, their hands immediately reaching for their rifles. The dimly lighted corridor became tense, the air thick with tension. Hey, where is Nick? One of the thugs raised his submachine gun. Something weird is going on. Spread out and search every corner. Good, scatter out. I will pick all 10 of you one by one, Bruce thought. The first thug, armed with a custom-made golden gun, was too preoccupied with finding his missing partner. Batman appeared silently behind him, splitting his throat with the sharp blades on his gauntlet. Nice gun you got there. He took the golden gun. Sadly, you won't need them. The second thug, distracted by his companion's sudden collapse, turned to investigate, only to meet the same fate. A batarang flew toward him, destroying his flashlight, followed by a swift kick that incapacitated him. A quick jab in his throat was enough to put him down. He moved along the corridors like a shadow. His visor displays all of the surviving goons on the ground. A third thug, wielding a crowbar, patrolled the darkened hallway, his grip tight on the weapon. Batman observed his movements, calculating the precise moment to strike. With a silent glide, he closed the distance and jammed his batarang in his throat. He dragged the bodies behind the stairs. The fourth thug was equipped with a stun baton, scanning the area with cautious steps. Out of nowhere, A grappling hook flew toward his ankle, yanking him off balance. Before he could react, Batman descended upon him, delivering a swift blow to the back of his head. The thug crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Meanwhile, the fifth thug, armed with a shotgun, patrolled the perimeter, his eyes darting nervously in the dark. "Jack, Vic, Nico. Where the hell are you guys?" he yelled in fear. His flashlight fell on the floor. The bright red pool of blood before his eyes made him yelp in shock. "Boys. Here. Quick. Regroup." The remaining 6 thugs regrouped, their voices tense and fearful in the dimly lit corridor. Their whispered exchanges were frantic, a mix of confusion and alarm evident in their hurried tones. "Did you see that? Someone's taking us out. Screw this, we need to stick together." Before the group could fully gather, he struck again. A smoke bomb and tear gas suddenly enveloped the area, shrouding it in a haze of confusion and panic. Amid the smoke, the dark figure emerged, his presence looming like a specter amidst the chaos. Within seconds, a series of impactful blows echoed amid the smokescreen. The thugs' cries of surprise and pain cut through the mist, their attempts to retaliate futile against the relentless assault. Bones snapped and painful groans filled the air as each subdued thug collapsed in a matter of seconds. Batman moved like a shadow, his attacks precise and brutal, ruthlessly dispatching the enemy. His fast movements didn't allow the thugs to regroup or retaliate. In mere moments, the confrontation was over, the hallway now eerily silent save for the soft groans of the incapacitated thugs, sprawled on the floor. "Oops. I might have overdone a bit," Bruce thought as he saw the broken and battered bodies of the thugs. Some of their limbs were bent in odd directions, with some suffering from concussions. 2 of them. Well, their heads were smashed so badly that one could barely recognize them. But nobody cared, nor should it be his concern, right? All that mattered was that they were criminals, and he was trying to fix a bad neighborhood, even if this meant the use of force. Maybe put enough fear in their heart, and they will eventually stop doing bad shits. If not, then well, death is the final option. "Sir." 2 men are approaching from the rear. Jarvis's voice came through the earpiece. Panting slightly, he glanced over his shoulder, noticing 2 thugs cautiously approaching him from the opposite end of the corridor. His stun batarang is ready to fly. Their eyes were focused, their muscles tensed, ready to retaliate at the slightest provocation. "Who in the freaking hell are you?" One of them spoke through the bandana that covered their faces, pointing their submachine guns at him. But his demeanor was calm and confident as he threw 2 batarangs at them at a blinding speed as he aimed his batclaw at the wall behind them. "Good night." He pressed the button and the grappling gun started to work. The batarangs stuck their guns, and a burst of electric current immobilized them before he zipped through the air, kicking the 2 of them at the same time, breaking their spines. The sound of their bones cracked like tree branches. Well, that's enough fun for now. Need to get to Penguin, Bruce thought. His only mission tonight was to catch the fat douche and get info on the Black Masks gang. Batman swiftly made his way to the mansion's upper floors, navigating the dimly lit corridors with stealth and caution. As he ascended, his focus intensified, his senses keenly attuned to any signs of movement or potential threats. He silently maneuvered through the labyrinthine hallways, avoiding the remaining guards scattered throughout the mansion. His keen perception and Jarvis's assistance allowed him to anticipate their movements, slipping by unnoticed in the shadows. He followed the layout made by Jarvis. As he neared the master bedroom, he noticed that there was no way to avoid the unnecessary fight. The reason is that there is only a single corridor to the room, which has 3 guards guarding it. I didn't want to use it, but... He took out a new gadget from his belt, incendiary grenade. Test results are one thing. Live target is another. He activated a 5-second timer and threw the grenade, which bounced and landed between the guards. They reacted too late. As soon as they heard the faint beeps, they tried to kick it back and run in different directions, but the grenades exploded in flames, swallowing everything in the flames. There were no sounds or cries, and they didn't even feel any pain. It was just a burst of intense fire that consumed everything in its path. Woo. That's awesome. Reminds me of old times. Now the cryo grenade. He took out another new experimental grenade and rolled the object. Unlike the flames, when the canister opened, everything that surrounded it froze in ice. The fire was completely replaced by an incomparably cold feeling as all the surrounding temperatures dropped. Even though they had already been scorched to death by the fire, their remains were now freezing into ice lumps. Batman kicked the door open and entered the room. Penguin was sitting on the sofa, puffing a fat cigar and holding a glass of whiskey. His right shoulder was bandaged. The infamous Devil Bat. To think you are still alive after all these years. Guess the Black Mask got on your nerves, huh? Penguin spoke without turning his head towards Batman, who was standing behind him. He puffed his cigar and continued, "You know what? I helped those bastards, and they tried to get rid of me. How about I help you and you probably turn a blind eye to me, yeah? Deal." Batman walked past Penguin and sat on the sofa across from him. "Talk." His voice was deep and distorted. Penguin smirked and continued, "That guy likes to do things personally, especially when it comes to his secret mission. Even I don't know what it is. But what I know is that he plans to blow up Gotham and then Metropolis using some nuke or bombs." He chuckled. "Sounds crazy, right? Haha. That's psycho." "Location?" Batman asked, his gaze fixed intently on the fat crook. Penguin put the glass on the table and took out a small piece of paper. "This is the location of his warehouse where he stores his stuff. Don't expect to find any bombs, though. He has already planted them, God knows where." He laughed again. "And that's all I know, Devil Bat. Take it or leave it." He leaned back and puffed his cigar again. "Other than helping them cross the border, I haven't done anything illegal in the last 10 years. That freaking Thomas Wayne. Jarvis. Search the surveillance in that area. Give me something concrete to go on," he ordered Jarvis through the earpiece. Penguin raised his eyebrow in surprise. "What? You are now calling your helper by his name in front of me? Don't worry, I know how to keep a secret or two. I won't open my mouth." "Target located." "Sir, I have located Black Mask. He is still in the warehouse," Jarvis responded. Batman stood up. "Yeah, you won't." He took out a handgun he had taken from one of the goons earlier and shot Penguin in the head twice. Blood splattered on the sofa and carpet as his lifeless body slumped forward. "Because dead men don't talk, and I am not Devil Bat." He emptied the clip. He left the mansion, ignoring the commotion caused by the shooting. Industrial District, Black Mask's warehouse. The Black Mask's warehouse stood large in the industrial zone, an unwelcoming fortress in the darkness. The vast structure was shrouded in an unsettling blackness as the night descended upon the region. Graffiti on the exterior walls represented the domains of several criminal gangs in a quiet yet ominous show of strength. Tension and the stench of illicit activity were palpable in the air. Some gang members carried goods into trucks while wearing frightening masks that reflected their affiliation with the Black Mask. Other gang members monitored the perimeter with alert and focused motions. Several trucks pulled into the compound, their engines roaring to life as they came to a halt. Each vehicle bore the insignia of the Black Mask, a clear symbol of the authority this master criminal possessed. Gang members swarmed around the trucks, unloading cargo with practiced efficiency. There was a wild symphony of illegal activities going on inside the warehouse. Crates filled with illegal products were piled high, and above the clamor of machinery, commands could be heard yelled. It served as a center of activity and a beehive of shady transactions that supported the underground economy. Batman's sharp eyes peered over the warehouse as he hovered over it, marking the locations of the thugs inside and outside the building with precise precision. The mayhem and illicit deals taking place below the warehouse were clear indicators that it was a center for criminal activity. His visor showed a grid diagram of the interior of the warehouse, complete with an unsettling stock of weapons. A picture of impending mayhem was painted by crates heaped with C4 explosives, RPG launchers, grenades, and an array of assorted deadly weapons that were being offloaded. The enormous amount of weaponry suggested that a major war might be brewing in the shadows. "Bastard. That's enough explosives to level down Gotham to ashes," Bruce thought, concern etched across his face. As he was about to make his move, 2 armored trucks rumbled into the compound. Armored trucks. Dang. His visor zoomed in on the vehicles, analyzing their contents and the unusual sight of GCPD officers in one of them. The classic moles within the police force, aiding the criminal operations of the Black Mask, was not so shocking discovery. He expected as much, considering the enormous operation going on in the city under the noses of the GCPD. More red flags were raised by the cash-filled containers. The presence of illicit weapons and large sums of money suggested a sinister scheme that went beyond regular criminal activity. It was clear that the Black Mask was planning a disastrous scheme, and the corrupt cops' involvement implied a network of betrayal that reached well into Gotham's legal system. "Jarvis, enhance hearing," Bruce ordered the AI. I want to hear their conversation. Affirmative, Jarvis replied. The enhanced audio picked up the chatter of gang members loading the trucks and the corrupt GCPD officers conversing among themselves, unaware of the masked vigilante lurking in the shadows. So, you added the bonus? One officer asked. Another cop responded, $2 million, plus 5 kilos of coke. That fatso said that it is a reward for our loyal services. Haha, good. We deserve more, after risking our lives. Especially when we are cleaning shit in the Narrows and Crime Alley. The other cop chuckled. Compared to these dumbasses here, who are just loading boxes and counting money. Yeah, these guys are nothing but brainless muscleheads. Money, drugs, women, food, alcohol. What else do they want? Batman listened attentively as the corrupt officers continued their exchange, oblivious to his presence. Anyway, I am gonna leave the city and probably settle down in Miami with the cash. What about you? The cop asked his accomplice. I am thinking about laying low for a while in Hawaii. Got a cousin there who owns a fancy bar. Might give him a hand and enjoy the sun and girls till things settle down. Bruce's jaw tightened as he listened to their conversation. These bastards are so dead. Corrupt cops betraying their own people. His anger flared, fueled by the knowledge that Gotham citizens would once again suffer due to corruption in the city's justice system. The peace his father held together for 11 years has now been disrupted. The once peaceful city is about to be plunged into chaos, and he isn't going to let that happen. While listening to their conversation, he caught some tidbits from another group of thugs. The boss says the power plant plan failed. So we need to wait for further instructions. Black Mask is pissed. Considering the amount of weapons and explosives we have, the boss must be planning an all-out assault on the power plant. So they plan to blow it up by force. Good thing I am here. Well, where are you hiding, Black Mask? Bruce thought as he scanned every individual. Ah, there you are. At the far end of the warehouse, near the back door, there was Black Mask standing among a small group of men, discussing something. I would like to blow everything up along with you, but I need to know the thing you are after. First thing first. He selected an EMP grenade and aimed it at the power box on the roof. With pinpoint precision, he fired the grenade. Crackle. Boom. The device hit its target, triggering a spark that short-circuited the entire compound, plunging it into darkness. Batman smirked as he watched the thugs fumble in panic. He flew over the point where Black Mask was standing with an automatic rifle. Batman activated his suit's thrusters, propelling himself toward his target. The warehouse was chaos. Thugs scrambled, their cries mingling with the confusion and darkness. Black Mask, standing amidst the chaos, was momentarily caught off guard by the sudden power outage. With a calculated dive, he descended, his black armor cutting through the shadows like a dart. He swooped down at lightning speed, crashing down the ceiling, his armored form barely visible in the dark warehouse. In a swift and precise move, he grabbed Black Mask by the collar before the criminal could react. The surprise on his face was fleeting as Batman's gauntlet clamped onto him securely. Without giving any chance for resistance, the suit's thrusters roared to life, and Batman shot up into the night sky, carrying the villain with him. The hell was that? The thugs, stunned by the sudden turn of events and the disappearance of their leader, aimed their weapons at the sky, but it was too late. Batman had already ascended to a considerable height, a mere silhouette against the night sky. High up in the sky, Black Mask quickly recovered. He pulled out his handgun and started shooting. "Let go of me, you freak," he growled, firing wildly at Batman. "Who the hell are you?" "I am Batman." He held the criminal by his collar and looked into his eyes through his visor. From the outside, only Batman's glowing blue eyes can be seen. Black Mask froze for a second, unable to process the words uttered by the strange figure. "Be Batman. Bats died years ago. I was there. Devil Bat died that day before my eyes. I saw his dead body lying lifeless." Black Mask sneered. "You're just a copycat pretending to be Batman." "Devil Bat, huh? I need to look into it more after I take care of this mess. Did Dad become the first Batman after the Crime Alley incident? I need to ask him," Bruce thought. "Look down," he said, pointing toward the ground. Black Mask reluctantly looked down, the blood draining from his face when he realized how high they were. "Does it really matter if I am the real Batman or not? You are still hundreds of meters above the ground." Black Mask shuddered in fear, his hands trembling as he pointed the gun at him. Let me go, bastard. Or I'll shoot. Do it. Be my guest. Shoot me, Batman smirked, staring at the terrified criminal. If you are lucky, which I think you are not, the bullet will pierce through my armor, which again is impossible considering the material of my armor, otherwise. Splat. He taunted him with a dramatic sound effect, causing Black Mask's face to pale even further. Why, you are crazy. Black Mask dropped the gun in panic. What? That's new. People usually call me a genius. Crazy is new to me, he snickered. Damn it. He cursed loudly, struggling to break free from Batman's grip. What the hell do you want? He gave up on breaking free, realizing how futile his attempt was. Batman selected a missile from his weapon selection and aimed his fist down at the warehouse. I want you to look down and tell me what you see. He reluctantly looked down. What do you want to hear? My warehouse. Happy now, asshole? He shouted angrily, glaring at him with hatred. He launched the missile at the warehouse. Boom. An explosion tore through the warehouse, engulfing it in flames. Black Mask's eyes widened in terror when he realized the implication of the missile Batman launched. The explosion was followed by multiple more chain explosions, thanks to the explosives and other weapons stored in the warehouse. The deafening sounds echoed throughout the industrial zone, sending shockwaves rippling through the area. Under the night sky, the blazing inferno illuminated Batman's armored form, revealing his menacing appearance. His glowing blue eyes stared at Black Mask with cold indifference. What warehouse? He looked down. I don't see any warehouse. Black Mask trembled in horror. The destruction unfolding beneath him left him speechless and petrified. The once bustling warehouse was reduced to smoldering ruins as fire consumed the debris. His years of planning and scheming were destroyed in a single moment. All the hard work gone, vanished into thin air. And no. He muttered incoherently, watching his plans crumbling apart. What no? I mean, yeah, there isn't a warehouse anymore. Also, your men are dead. All of them blown to pieces. Batman said nonchalantly. But hey, look at the bright side. You are still alive. He laughed maniacally, causing Black Mask to shudder in fright. Now enough with the boring chat. I know this is just one of the 6 warehouses, so let's fly for a bit and enjoy some fireworks, shall we? Without waiting for a response, Batman activated his thrusters. Black Mask screamed in terror as they shot forward through the night sky, leaving behind a trail of smoke. Nuhu. Industrial District. The city's industrial district lay draped in the dark shroud of night, with silhouettes of towering structures and the hum of distant machinery filling the air. The remnants of the destroyed warehouse lingered in the background, a stark reminder of the chaos unleashed moments ago. Flames still licked the skies, casting an eerie glow on the surroundings as the smoke billowed, carried away by the night wind. The sound of GCPD's cars approaching echoed through the area, their red and blue lights flashing bright, while the fire engines tried to douse out the flames. High above the district, Batman and Black Mask hurtled through the night sky, the city lights twinkling below them like distant stars. Black Mask's terrified screams merged with the rush of wind as they soared above the Gotham skyline. Please let me go. Black Mask pleaded, his voice a frantic wail amidst the chaotic journey through the air. Look at him, screaming like a little baby, Bruce thought to himself. To think he was planning to blow up Gotham. He glanced down at the dangling mob boss, noticing the look of sheer terror etched on his face as the buildings whizzed past beneath them. He could see Black Mask grabbing tightly onto the thin cable connecting him to the suit. Shoo, enjoy the ride. We have places to go. Warehouses to blow up. Batman taunted, turning sharply in midair towards another part of the city and aiming for the next location, another warehouse belonging to Black Mask's criminal empire. His keen eyes scanned the skyline, his mind processing the layout of the city, and he zeroed in on the targeted site, guided by Jarvis's assistants. Luckily, there were no civilians, only criminals. The warehouse came into view, a shadowy behemoth nestled within the industrial labyrinth. Bright spotlights and patrolling thugs guarded the perimeter, unaware of the impending doom hurtling towards them. Say goodbye to your next venture. He launched a missile towards the warehouse located at the edge of the city. It exploded into a ball of fire on impact, reducing it to rubble and ashes. Just like that, he flew from one warehouse to another, blowing them up without mercy. Each explosion sent shockwaves throughout the district, followed by plumes of black smoke rising up to the sky. Black Mask shrieked in terror each time, his body swinging wildly through the air, helpless and utterly at Batman's mercy. 6 warehouses, 6 explosions. Black Mask's entire empire, his plans, his people, everything was reduced to ashes. He stopped screaming at this point as he watched the scorching embers float through the sky, the acrid smell of charred wood, gunpowder, molten metal, and flesh stinging his nostrils. Bruce noticed his silence and smirked behind his mask. Good. But all good things must come to an end, and Batman knew it was time to end Black Mask's misery. However, he has to know about their main goal and if there's someone behind him pulling the strings. He will let the bastard live a few more hours till he gets all the info out of him. Gotham's outskirts, abandoned construction site of LexCorp. Bruce landed near an abandoned construction site, far away from any prying eyes or unwanted attention. The place was eerily silent, save for the sound of crickets chirping in the distance and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. A thick blanket of fog enveloped the area, obscuring their presence. Bruce dragged Black Mask to the middle of the site and tied him to a support pillar using a cable from his grappler. He then took a dirty molded cloth from the ground and plunged it into Mask's mouth. There you go. Now we won't hear you scream, right? He sneered and looked down at Mask, who was staring back at him with fear in his eyes, shaking uncontrollably. He got out of his Iron Man's armor, revealing his batsuit underneath it. He examined the data Jarvis recovered from each warehouse. The gang has planted bombs in different parts of Gotham under Black Mask's orders. The ones in the sewer that GCPD's bomb squad neutralized were just a small percentage compared to the rest scattered around Gotham. There are also explosives hidden in other locations like schools, hospitals, churches, orphanages, etc. Right now, he has all the info on the places the bombs were planted. They are all remote detonated via special frequency. Ah, you mother-freaking piece of shit. Bruce yelled angrily and punched Black Mask in the stomach hard. His fist sank deep into Mask's abdomen, eliciting a muffled cry of pain from the man. Then followed by 3 more punches until Mask was wheezing heavily. Bruce grabbed him by the hair and pulled his head up to stare into his bloodshot eyes. This is just the beginning. I know if I ask you a question, you will just lie to me and I have to beat you up, and we are going to repeat the process again and again till you give me the truth. He took out a batarang and jammed it into his right shoulder. Mum. Black Mask wanted to scream, but his mouth was stuffed by the dirty rag, only producing muffled cries. Bruce twisted the batarang inside his shoulder and yanked it out, eliciting another wave of agony from him. Blood gushed out of the wound, staining the dark ground. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to put so much pain in you that you will beg me to kill you. And then maybe I will let you die after you answer all my questions. Bruce spoke coldly. He kicked his kneecap hard, shattering it completely. Black Mask screamed in agony as tears ran down his cheeks, mixing with his blood. Bruce delivered 2 more kicks before he moved to his other leg. MMMFF. Black Mask squirmed desperately, trying to break free but to no avail. Bruce smashed both his kneecaps simultaneously, sending waves of excruciating pain coursing through his body. I haven't even started yet. Just thinking about the fact that you were about to wage a war on Gotham makes my blood boil. All those innocent lives that would have been lost, had I not stopped you. You freaking scumbag. Bruce growled as he continued beating him up mercilessly. Black Mask's face became a bloody pulp, barely recognizable anymore. Finally, he took out a syringe filled with adrenaline from his utility belt and stabbed Mask in the neck. Mask felt a sudden surge of energy coursing through him, overriding the pain momentarily. Bruce injected the whole dose of adrenaline into him and stepped back to watch what happens next. Mask struggled violently against his bonds, writhing like a madman. His veins bulged out visibly as the drug pumped through his system, enhancing every nerve ending in his body. Every single cell seemed to burn with excruciating agony. He thrashed furiously, banging his head repeatedly against the concrete pillar behind him, hoping to pass out or die from the intense torture inflicted upon him. Bruce quickly grabbed his hair and kept his head steady. Don't go dying on me yet. He snarled menacingly. Mask groaned weakly in response. It lasted for almost 10 minutes before Bruce took out a morphine injection and injected Mask with it, dulling the pain temporarily. He took out a recording device from his utility belt and pressed play. Now, I will ask you some questions. Try to answer me correctly or else. He looked up at the foggy sky. The night is still young and I have worse methods of torture under my belt. Black Mask stared at him with pleading eyes, begging him to stop torturing him further. Bruce pressed a button on the recording device and began asking him questions. "Where is the detonator?" he asked. Black Mask mumbled something incoherently. Bruce removed the gag from Mask's mouth and repeated his question again. "John, GCPD's traffic cop." Mask croaked weakly. "What was your goal for coming to Gotham and planning such a large-scale attack?" Bruce asked. Someone wanted us to secure some old blueprints from the Wayne Enterprise and kill Thomas Wayne. They supplied us with cash and weapons." Mask coughed painfully. "All this preparation just for some old blueprints and assassinating the mayor?" He inquired further. Bruce already knows the answers to these questions, but he wants Mask to confess everything. He nodded feebly, confirming his suspicions. Yes. With Thomas holding the helm of Gotham and eliminating the crime families one by one, someone feared his influence would grow exponentially and pose a huge threat in the future. Mask wheezed. Bruce frowned slightly at this revelation. His father was indeed a threat to certain powerful people, but which blueprints are they after? Wait. Don't tell me they are after the arc reactor's blueprint. Bruce thought to himself. Which blueprints? We don't ask questions. We just do what we were paid for. Who ordered you to do all this? He asked firmly. Bang. A bullet pierced through Black Mask's skull. Sniper. Bruce quickly entered the Iron Man armor and scanned the area. But there was nothing except fog and darkness. Shit. He punched a weathered pillar hard, shattering it to pieces. There is no one capable enough to take such a long-distance shot in this foggy weather. Bruce gritted his teeth in anger. I am 100% sure it's Deadshot. Bruce initiated his suit scanning systems again, trying to trace any residual traces of the sniper's presence or any clues that could indicate Deadshot's movements. However, the fog rendered the sensors ineffective. Damn it. Can't waste time here. He flew into the sky. Jarvis, can we use a signal jammer to stop the detonation? He asked the AI. He wanted to prevent the explosion at any cost, and trying to attack the one with the detonator might result in a game over for everyone. A slight mistake and boom. Gotham down in smoke. He must be wary now that Black Mask and his gang are down. He couldn't take any risk. The detonator will not be affected by the signal jammers because its signals are not digital and it works on remote access. Without the key codes, I won't be able to figure out which channel to use. The AI replied. TSK. Since the bombs are remote-controlled, the one with the detonator must not be that far, and there is a strong possibility that he will activate all the bombs to do maximum damage while escaping from here. We will have to act fast. I doubt he or whoever that remote is with right now would wait. Now that Black Mask is down for the count, Bruce frowned. If this person activated all the explosives, then even Batman would not be able to save Gotham, and everyone would die. He cannot let this happen. He stopped in midair and examined the map, displayed in 3D models through his visor. 20 bombs in 20 different locations. A maddening and near impossible task for one person. Jarvis, dial Dad's number. We need to work together on this one, Bruce said, zooming into one of the locations of the explosives. He flew toward the residential district, with the intent of trying to defuse at least some of the bombs. As the call connected, he heard the mayor's voice coming through the comms. Bruce, where are you? You're not picking up my calls, Thomas inquired, worry evident in his voice. The city is in flames. Someone attacked multiple locations in the gang's hideout. Just stay where you are. It's safer than outside. What safe place? Anyway. Calm down, don't panic, and listen very carefully. Open your computer. Bruce spoke hurriedly while speeding through the city's air, a dark specter flying overhead. His voice. Just like that night. Thomas hurriedly complied with his son's order. The comms connected to the holoscreen and Thomas was shown a holographic 3D projection of the map on which the locations of the bombs have been marked by Jarvis, all red as representing their targets. Are these the targets? He inquired with a raised voice, slightly panicked. Yeah, bombs, remotely controlled. I have sent the name of the one with the detonator. He is a traffic police from GCPD. First thing first, don't panic and dispatch bomb squads in those locations. Second, you must somehow capture this guy. Someone assassinated Black Mask, and we have no idea when they will blow up the city. He is dead. That means I am on it. You better stay there, Bruce. Thomas spoke worriedly, while assigning GCPD agents and SWAT teams in action. Did someone track my location? Which place is he talking about? Don't worry about me. You just find that detonator. He quickly hung up. He didn't have enough time to sit and chatter. Within a few minutes, Bruce arrived at the first location. This bomb was attached to a boiler room located inside a slum school building. The building was empty. He quickly got out of his armor and put it under Jarvis's control. Jarvis, move to the next location and defuse the bomb. I will take care of this one, Bruce instructed. He trusted his technology way more than any man working on this mission. After making sure Jarvis complied with his instructions, he entered the building and dashed toward the basement floor, where he could find the boiler room. After getting inside the room, he wasted no time and started working on dismantling the bomb. His hands worked quickly. Although he had no idea how much time he had until the explosion, he moved hastily. Red, blue, green, yellow. Yellow should do. What kind of amateur made this bomb? Really shitty, Bruce muttered while disarming it. If he wanted a big explosion, why didn't he just plant C4 or Semtex? With a click and hiss, the timer stopped, and the bomb shut down, making him let out a sigh of relief. His palms were slightly shaking, which he immediately realized and clenched his fist. All right, time to move to the next one. He checked the map on his visor to locate the second one. Shopping mall? A few clicks away. Good. He dashed out of the building and used his bat claws to grab onto the roof of the tallest building around him. He couldn't be seen here, or he would definitely draw unwanted attention. Without hesitation, he fired it toward a high-rise building a few meters away, pulling himself to it. The street was empty due to the consecutive explosions. The GCPD has issued a message on the radio that people must stay at their homes because there were a few terrorist attacks. He zipped on the rooftop and continued to use his backclaw to progress toward the other end of the roof as a quicker means of transportation. Not long after, the next bomb's location appeared before him, located on the roof of the mall. Sir, I have defused the bomb. Jarvis's voice came from the comm. Okay. Defuse as many as you can, but don't let others see the armor. He reminded the AI. He couldn't take chances at this moment. As he touched down on the rooftop, he noticed 6 big barrels with explosives planted beside them. His visor picked up 3 humans with weapons. Bastard! Without giving them any time to attack, he threw a tear gas canister toward the thugs. They were too busy drinking that they didn't notice until the canister rolled toward them. What the he dash, thud thud. Sizz. Tear gas dispersed in the air. Cough. Cough. The thugs covering their eyes tried to fire their guns at him but had no way of doing anything with the cloud of gas surrounding them. They couldn't open their eyes because if they did, they would be exposed to the toxic gas. Before they even got a chance to retaliate, Bruce dashed in. He punched the first guy on his nose, slamming him down on the floor, followed by another punch on the same spot. His face caved in, and the bones crushed, knocking the guy out cold. The second guy tried to run toward the door. Bruce aimed his backclaw at the thug's belt and with a click pulled him backward, followed by a hard kick right on his ribcage. His body flew in the air, crashing on the roof fence. Blood spewed out from his mouth. He lay there unconscious, probably dead. The third one came charging toward Batman with his knife. However, he was a slow bastard compared to him, and in the blink of an eye, his right elbow bent backward at an awkward angle as it was broken, and the knife went straight through his neck. Blood spewed like a punctured water pipe. The thug grabbed his throat and fell on the floor, unable to scream and gurgling on his own blood. Bruce didn't show any mercy to these filth. After disarming the bomb on the rooftop and making sure the place was clear, he checked the map. The red dots are disappearing at a faster rate. The bomb squad and Jarvis had already defused 6/20 bombs. As the night passed, all the bombs were defused. None of the explosions happened. The mole in the GCPD had escaped, but they somehow recovered the remote control from him. Well, not that it matters anymore, since all the bombs are disarmed. He wiped the sweat dripping on his forehead. It's almost dawn. Bruce left for the manor afterward. Mom is going to kill me. He dialed Fox's number. Hey, Mr. Fox. Mr. Wayne? Yeah, I thought something might be wrong, considering the chaos in the city. Guess you took care of the threat. Fox asked from the other side of the phone. You could say that. The thing is, I need another favor. An alibi, I guess. Lucius knew he would require something to keep his cover intact. Don't worry. I have already informed your parents that you are working on a special project with me, and that you are completely safe in my private research center. Ah. No wonder he was telling me to stay where I am. Thank you. My pleasure, Mr. Wayne, Lucius replied in his calm tone. After disconnecting the call, a thought stuck in Bruce's mind. Things went way too smooth. Need to keep an eye out, just in case. Meanwhile, location classified, a woman dressed in matte black, like one of those ninjas, is standing next to the windows, overlooking an image of Gotham, depicted on a holographic screen floating next to it. Near her feet was lying the GCPD mole. His body was littered with slash wounds, and he was no longer breathing. The floor was drenched in his blood and flesh. A bat in armor. This trip is going to be interesting. She smiled as she removed her mask. Her brown long hair floated in the air, and her equally brown iris stared toward the view of Gotham, smiling at the thought. John Stoner was a GCPD traffic officer in his mid-30s, with a rugged appearance that seemed to blend effortlessly with the gritty streets of Gotham. He had a lean build, a rugged jawline covered in light stubble, and eyes that held a weary but observant glint. His dark hair was cut short, a practical choice for his line of work, and his features bore the marks of someone who had seen more than their fair share of the city's turmoil. His colleague, Carla Fentz, was a novice in her late 30s whose upbeat personality stood in stark contrast to John's more weathered demeanor. With her short, cropped hair that she frequently ran her fingers through during moments of reflection, she exuded a sharpness. There was a certain harshness in her eyes, a sign of someone who knows the city's dark reality. John leaned against the hood of their patrol car, the city's skyline serving as the backdrop to their conversation. He exhaled a heavy breath, his eyes scanning the streets they patrolled. It's been quiet for far too long, Carla. 10 years of peace, and suddenly, the gangs are stirring up trouble again. Something big's about to go down. I can just feel it. Carla nodded, her gaze fixed on a group of youths loitering on the corner, their body language tense. The last thing we need is a gang war brewing on these streets. It's like they're itching for a fight, and it's not just one gang. It's all of them, stirring trouble in their own territories. John's jaw tightened, a grim expression on his face. It's like they're waiting for a spark to set the whole damn city on fire. Word is, she added, her voice low, that Black Mask's been making moves again. Rumors say he's been planning something big, pulling strings from the shadows. Black Mask, he muttered, a flicker of concern crossing his features. That guy's trouble. If he's back in the game, it's bad news for everyone. Last time he was active, the city was knee-deep in chaos. Her gaze turned steely. We've got to stay ahead of this. I heard the newly appointed ops have been monitoring some unusual activities, shipments moving in odd patterns, and reports of new recruits joining the old gangs. Feels like a storm's brewing. John straightened up, a sense of duty etched in his features. We need to keep our eyes open, Carla. This city's always on the edge. One wrong move, and it could all come crashing down. They exchanged a look, a silent understanding passing between them. John's phone buzzed, the familiar ringtone indicating his daughter's call. He grabbed it, expecting to hear her voice on the other end. But as he pressed it to his ear, a chilling, unfamiliar voice seeped through the receiver, sending a shiver down his spine. Officer Stoner, you've got 30 minutes. Head to Fumes Leathery in the Industrial District. Alone. Don't make any detours, or your daughter pays the price. The blood drained from John's face. His hand tightened around the phone as a cold sweat formed on his brow. This wasn't some random call. This was a threat, a warning that pierced through the calm of the moment. Who are you? What do you want? His voice was strained, his heart hammering against his chest. Questions later. Move now. Don't make me repeat myself. 30 minutes. The line went dead before he could respond. He stared at the phone, his mind racing. The industrial district was a hotbed of danger, especially at this hour. But the mention of his daughter made his decision for him. What's wrong? Carla asked, noticing his expression. John's voice trembled slightly as he relayed the disturbing call to her, his concern for his daughter evident in every word. They've got my daughter, and they want me to go to Fumes Leathery in the industrial district in 30 minutes. Alone. Carla's eyes widened in alarm, understanding the gravity of the situation. We need backup, John. We can't just walk into something like this alone. He shook his head, his mind already made up. They were clear. No detours, no one else. Just me. But your daughter. Her voice trailed off, her concern mirroring John's. He clenched his jaw, the weight of the situation heavy on his shoulders. I have to go. I can't risk her safety. The urgency in his voice spurred her into action. I'll come with you, John. We'll find a way to handle this together. I promised Lily's mother that I would always keep her safe. He pulled out his gun and pointed it at his partner. Please. His eyes softened for a moment. I can't take any chances. Carla looked at him, her expression a mix of shock and uncertainty as she nodded her head silently, understanding that the situation was more dire than he had let on. Okay? But promise me you'll be careful. John gave her a curt nod. Thank you. Just don't do anything stupid until I get my daughter back. Without another word, he walked towards his squad car, the stakes feeling heavier with each step. As he settled behind the wheel, he took a deep breath and started the engine. After a final glance back at Carla through the rearview mirror, he put the car into drive, the headlights illuminating the streets as he made his way to the industrial district. Hold on, Lily. Daddy's coming to save you. Earlier, Carla noticed a bike near the pump that belonged to some small-timer thug, just around the blocks. She dashed for it. Not gonna let you walk into a trap, John. Upon reaching it, she saw a Mohawk punk sitting atop it, smoking weed leisurely. She raised her service pistol at him. Get off the bike, hands where I can see them. The punk froze, dropping his joint in shock. I have a prescription for that shit. Shut up and get off the bike, she ordered, keeping her pistol trained on the punk. Keep the keys in. All right. Take it easy, lady. The punk slowly got off the bike, keeping his hands raised. Just don't shoot, okay? I'm only 18, man. I haven't even lost my V-card yet. She ignored his pleas as she holstered her weapon and climbed onto the bike, revving the engine to life. She glanced at the punk over her shoulder. Tell your boss that Officer Fence sends her regards. Without waiting for a response, she sped off into the night, hoping to catch up to John before he reached the industrial district. Don't do anything stupid, huh? Carla thought, pushing the bike to its limits. Sorry, John, but I can't just sit by while you walk into a potential trap. I may not be able to stop you, but maybe I can help level the playing field a bit. With the wind whipping past her, Carla raced through the streets of Gotham, determined to help her partner any way she could. Back at the gas station, the punk dusted himself off before picking up his joint from the ground. Damn it. Dad's gonna kill me if he finds out I lost the bike again. He grumbled as he lit the joint once more, taking a long drag. Fumes Leathery. 3 p.m., John parked his squad car in front of Fumes Leathery, the tension in his body palpable. He knew he was walking into a potentially dangerous situation, but he couldn't bring himself to care. All he cared about was his daughter's safety, and if going alone meant getting her back unharmed, then so be it. Taking a deep breath, he exited the vehicle, his eyes darting around the area as he cautiously approached the Leathery. The workers inside were busy processing hides, paying him little attention as he scanned the premises for any signs of danger. His phone vibrated, signaling a text message. Pulling it out, he saw a picture of Lily tied up and gagged, fear written all over her features. His blood boiled at the sight, and he clenched his fist tightly, his resolve solidifying. Then a call came in, showing an unknown number. Make any sudden move, and your daughter's skin will become a nice pair of boots, a gruff voice warned, confirming John's worst fears. Let her go, his tone was firm, but there was a hint of desperation in it. What do you need? Now you are asking the right question, the voice replied, sounding pleased. You see that blue Aston on your right? Get in it. John's gaze landed on the luxury sports car parked nearby, its sleek design standing out among the surrounding vehicles. As he approached it, he noticed that the doors were unlocked, almost invitingly. Taking a deep breath, he opened the door and slid into the driver's seat, the plush leather interior providing a stark contrast to the rough surroundings. Drive to the docks, to warehouse number 12, the voice instructed, its tone commanding. The engine purred as John slid into the driver's seat of the Aston Martin, his knuckles turning white as he gripped the steering wheel. His mind was a whirlwind of worry, fear, imagining the worst. The warehouse number etched in his memory. He started the car and pulled out onto the deserted streets. Every second felt like an eternity, the car's engine humming a constant reminder of the ticking clock. His eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, scanning the roads behind him. He had a nagging feeling, a primal instinct telling him he wasn't alone in this journey. But no matter how hard he looked, the streets seemed empty, bathed in the muted light of the waning evening. The phone buzzed again, interrupting the silence within the car. Another message displayed. Keep driving straight. Don't stop for anything or anyone. The road seemed desolate, the buildings bearing the scars of Gotham's rough existence. Shadows danced along the alleys, lending an eerie quality to the deserted surroundings. John swallowed hard, his heart hammering against his chest. The street is too empty. He wondered. He has been in this part of the city, but at this time this area should have been bursting with people, but it was empty. With his full attention on the road ahead, time seemed to blur as he drove. His mind whirled, picturing every possible situation. He was driven forward by his resolve to face the unknown in the warehouse, even in the face of fear. The digital clock on the dashboard relentlessly ticked away, each second carving deeper lines of worry on John's face. The warehouse loomed in the distance, an ominous silhouette against the dying light of day. Approaching the warehouse, John's eyes scanned the area, looking for any sign of Lily or her captors. He noticed a figure standing near the entrance, partially obscured by the dimness. "That's far enough, Officer Stoner," a voice echoed through the silence, sending a shiver down his spine. He stopped the car, his hands trembling ever so slightly. He rolled down the window, his gaze fixed on the shadowy figure. "Where's my daughter?" His voice was a blend of desperation and anger. "Relax, she's safe for now," the voice replied, its tone cold and calculating. "But if you want her to stay that way, you'll do exactly as I say. What do you want from me?" His voice was strained, his emotions threatening to overwhelm him. "A favor for a favor. There is someone who wants to offer you a chance of a lifetime, an opportunity you can't refuse." The voice continued, cryptic and chilling. John's jaw tensed, his mind racing. He knew he had to tread carefully, but his daughter's safety was paramount. "I'll do whatever it takes to get my daughter back. Just tell me what you want," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady despite the panic bubbling within him. "Leave your weapons in the car and follow me. And don't worry about your daughter. We have sent her home safely without any harm," the voice replied as he opened the door and stepped inside. John quickly dialed his home telephone number, hoping against hope that Lily would be there, safe and sound. The phone rang several times before finally being picked up. "Hello." Lily's voice came through the receiver, relief washing over John like a wave. "Lily," he exclaimed, his voice cracking with emotion. "Are you okay, honey? Did those men hurt you?" "I'm fine, Dad," she replied, her voice shaky but strong. "They didn't hurt me. They just dropped me off at home and told me to wait for you here." John sighed heavily, the weight of the world seeming to lift from his shoulders. He quickly assured Lily that everything would be okay before hanging up and following the mysterious figure into the warehouse. As he entered the warehouse, John noticed several figures looming in the shadows, their faces obscured by black masks. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up, his instincts telling him that he was in danger. After walking through the basement door, he noticed a table and 2 chairs in the middle of the room. There was a box, a vodka bottle, and 2 glass cups on the table. "Sit down," a voice commanded, emanating from the darkness. John complied, his nerves on edge. "We have a proposition for you, Officer Stoner," the voice continued, its tone cool and collected. He walked out of the shadows, wearing a black mask, revealing only his piercing eyes. "An opportunity that could change your life forever." He eyed the masked man cautiously, his curiosity piqued. "What kind of proposition?" he asked, his voice laced with skepticism. "I did some digging and found out that your daughter's condition isn't that healthy." "What was that? A new kidney transplant or something?" The masked man's voice was laced with mockery. John's eyes widened in surprise, shocked that the mysterious figure knew about Lily's condition. He remained silent, his mind racing as he tried to process the implications of this revelation. "How long she got left?" 5 years? 7. The masked man continued, his tone taunting. "And on top of that, your estranged wife has recently filed for divorce. Tough times, Officer Stoner." He clenched his jaw, his fists balled in anger as he struggled to contain his emotions. After the divorce settlement and all that shit, the masked man leaned forward. His pale green iris reflected the faint light in the room. "You won't have enough money to provide Lily with the expensive medication she needs. Am I right?" John averted his gaze, his heart sinking at the truth in the masked man's words. "Forget 5 years, she won't last more than a year. Besides," the masked man took out his phone and put it on the table before him. Images of his wife embracing a young man flashed across the screen. Your wife has already found herself a new toy boy to play with." John stared at the images, his eyes filled with pain and regret. He had suspected that his wife was seeing someone else, but to see the proof laid bare before him was like a knife twisting in his heart. "So, Officer Stoner, what will you do to save your daughter's life? To give her a better future?" the masked man asked, his voice filled with sinister intent. "To see that whore suffer?" His eyes narrowed, his resolve hardening as he considered the masked man's words. Deep down, he knew that Lily's health was deteriorating rapidly, and the expensive medication she needed was beyond his means. He also knew that his wife had abandoned them both, choosing to pursue her own happiness instead. And as a father, how could he allow Lily to suffer when there was a chance to save her? John took a deep breath. His decision was made. He met the masked man's gaze, his eyes burning with determination. Whatever it takes. Meanwhile, Carla tracked him down through the GPS on his radio. She has called for additional support and backup from GCPD, but it will take some time for them to arrive at the location. She parked the bike in a nearby alleyway and stealthily approached the warehouse. The place was dark and eerily quiet, her footsteps echoing in the empty space. She sneaked through a rotten wooden hole in the wall. She hid behind one of the containers, keeping her eyes peeled for any signs of movement. Damn it! There are too many places to hide. Carla cursed internally. She took out her gun and held it ready, her senses on high alert. Suddenly, she heard a faint rustling sound coming from the other side of the warehouse. Her body tensed, her finger hovering over the trigger. Slowly, she crept toward the source of the sound, her heart pounding in her chest. She quickly hid behind one of the crates as a thug walked past her hiding spot carrying a crate. Carla followed the thug silently. He put the crate on top of the others and walked back to where he came from. She sneaked closer to the open basement door and peeked inside. Stairs. She thought as she slowly descended the stairs, her gun held at the ready. Suddenly, a creaking noise of the wooden stairs came from under her feet. Shit! Carla cursed inwardly, freezing in place. Her eyes darted around, searching for any signs of movement. After a few moments of tense silence, she continued descending the stairs, careful not to make any further noise. After she reached the bottom of the stairs, she looked around. There was no one guarding the door. Carefully, she pushed the door open. A gun muzzle pointed directly at her face greeted Carla. "Shit!" she exclaimed as she raised her hands above her head. "Drop your weapon," a gruff voice commanded, his gun unwavering. Carla complied, her weapon clattering to the ground. She was then roughly shoved inside the room by the gun-wielding thug. Well, well, well. "Look what we have here," a mocking voice echoed from the corner of the room, accompanied by slow, deliberate footsteps. Her eyes fell on John, who was sitting on the chair, tied up. His face was bruised and bloodied, his clothes torn and dirty. Carla gritted her teeth, her blood boiling with rage. "Women," the masked man chuckled, his cold gaze boring into hers, always sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. Carla glared at the masked man defiantly, refusing to be intimidated. "I suggest you untie him and let us go," she said, her voice firm and steady, "unless you want Gotham City PD breathing down your necks. I have already called for backup. They will be here any minute now." "I told you not to do anything stupid," John whispered weakly, his voice hoarse from abuse. "Shut up," the masked man barked, slapping John harshly across the face, knocking him to the floor. Carla clenched her fists, struggling to control her rage. "Anyway." He took a deep breath and continued, "By the time they arrive, you will be long dead and we will be long gone." She gulped, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. She glanced at John, who was lying on the floor, motionless. Panic started to rise within her as the reality of the situation dawns on her. He just lay there closing his eyes. "Sorry. My daughter's life comes first. Damn it. I guess this is it for me. I am so sorry, John. I couldn't." Bang. A shot reverberated throughout the room. Carla's lifeless body fell to the floor with a hole in her head. Blood pooled beneath her unmoving form. Now, the masked man turned his attention back to John. "Don't forget our deal, John. One call, one button press. Remember." He nodded weakly, his eyes filled with pain and regret. The masked man smirked, satisfied. "Arg." John screamed as he watched Carla's bleeding body, his screams reverberating throughout the warehouse. Tears streamed down his cheeks. his heart shattered into pieces. Why? Why must she interfere? He cried, his soul bleeding from the loss of another person important to him. Bomb. A blunt object hit John on the head, knocking him unconscious. The masked man smiled wickedly as he removed his mask. Finally, we're done with the theatrics. He said, his voice dripping with venom, let's go. We have our backup set up. Now it's time to move with the next plan. What should we do with her, boss? One of the thugs asked, pointing at Carla's lifeless body. Bullet. Gunpowder. Dump her in the river. Can't let those bastards tracking us down. He ordered. 10 p.m., Carla's lifeless body drifted aimlessly into Gotham River. Her body was battered and bruised, her skin cold to the touch. The moonlight shone down upon her, illuminating her pale face, reflecting off her lifeless eyes. 2 boats stopped near her body. A woman in a black ninja-like dress picked her up and brought her to the deck. She noticed a familiar tattoo on her neck, 2 daggers. Another victim of Gotham crime. She sighed as she covered Carla's body with a piece of cloth. Take her to the base. Tell father to use the pit. She will be of use to us in the future. She looked down at the lifeless body. I shall take your revenge for you. After that, your life will belong to me. Location: Mayor's office. Thomas was dealing with the random explosions in the industrial district. He received a call from Bruce. He informed him about Black Mask's death and someone named John with a remote detonator, and the bombs spread throughout the city. A single press and boom. Everything will be over. Following Bruce's instructions, he turned on his computer and viewed the map he had mailed, which showed the locations of the bombs. Thomas did not waste any time. He called the bomb disposal squad and sent word of the imminent threats all throughout the city. Every ticking time bomb indicated an impending disaster. Listen carefully, he instructed the bomb squads, his voice steady despite the urgency. I'm sending you a map with the locations. Move fast, but proceed cautiously. We can't afford mistakes. Lives are at stake. With the bomb squads coming into action, he went through his contacts and called Ilana. Ilana, he began as soon as she picked up, his tone conveying the gravity of the situation. We've got a critical issue on our hands. There's a man named John from the GCPD traffic unit, armed with a remote detonator. Find him and secure that remote before it's too late. How much time do we have? She inquired as she dashed out of her apartment and jumped on her bike. Not much. Black Mask, dead. And without him controlling his men, chaos is about to break out any moment, and if I am not wrong, that detonator is their failsafe plan. He sighed, rubbing the corner of his eyes. Bastard plan to bury us all. I am sending you the bomb's location. Send your team to assist with the bomb squad. We must cover as much ground as we can. I will do my best. She disconnected the call. Then she called her team and instructed them to take care of the bombs as fast as possible. And just when I was getting bored. Never a dull moment in Gotham. Ilana opened a small device, strapped on her wrist. It's an advanced hacking device, Thomas created back when he was the Devil Bat. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface. She bypassed firewalls and encrypted security protocols. The system's defense was strong, but she persisted, leveraging her expertise in cyber infiltration. She traced the GPS signals of GCPD officers, filtering through the data in search of John's whereabouts. Each passing second intensified the urgency of the situation, the weight of countless lives hanging in the balance. Finally, a blip on the map caught her attention, a signal originating from the industrial district. John's location flashed on the screen, a beacon amidst the chaos. Got him, she murmured to herself. What the hell are you doing there, bastard? Rapidly typing commands into the hacking device, she extracted real-time footage from the surveillance cameras in the vicinity. A live feed appeared, showing John, disheveled and desperate, sitting and drinking on the 3rd floor of a new construction site in the eastern part of the residential district. Lex Corps New Branch. Whatever. She revved the engine and sped through the bustling streets of Gotham, navigating the labyrinth of alleys and shortcuts with the expertise of someone intimately familiar with the city's layout. The bike roared as she navigated the intricate streets of Gotham. She maneuvered through the bustling chaos. Her eyes were fixed on the holographic display projected by the hacking device, tracking John's position in real time. The Lex Corps building loomed ahead, its sleek design standing out amidst the surrounding structures. Ilana screeched to a halt, hiding the bike behind a nearby construction dumpster, not wanting to alert anyone to her presence. She unstrapped the hacking device, slipping it into her pocket. The flashing lights from police vehicles were already converging on the area, bomb squads and officers fanning out to secure the district. The urgency in the air was palpable. Ilana darted toward the construction site, weaving through the maze of half-built structures and scaffolding. The chaos seemed to intensify with every step, the gravity of the situation pressing against her with unbearable weight. She reached the third floor, her eyes scanning the area for any sign of John. In the dimly lit corridors, she spotted a figure sitting against a wall, a bottle in hand. John. Ilana's voice echoed through the emptiness, urgency lacing her tone. Startled, John bolted upright, fumbling with the bottle in his hands. His gaze landed on Ilana, confusion spreading across his features. You? What the hell are you doing here? He slurred, clearly drunk. Give me that detonator, John. Ilana approached him slowly, her hand extended, palm open. Ah, you are here for that thingy. He swayed slightly, struggling to stand on his feet. Well, here. Take it. I don't need it anymore. He tossed the detonator toward Ilana, stumbling forward and collapsing onto the floor. She deftly caught the detonator, relief washing over her. She quickly messaged Thomas about the situation. He took another gulp from the bottle in his hand, muttering under his breath. Freaking bastards killed Carla before my eyes. I just freaking had no other choice. They offered to provide treatment for my daughter. Promised me to make that bitch wife of mine pay the price. How could I refuse? Who? She questioned sternly, crouching beside him, her gaze boring into his eyes, demanding answers. Who offered you this deal? Some guy in a mask. Ha ha ha. But what's the point now? Carla is dead. My baby girl. You know Lily calls me her hero. And look at me. I made a deal with a criminal and even watched my partner die before my eyes, and now they called me, told me to press the button. How could I ever stand before my daughter again? Tears streamed down John's face. Sorrow and anguish were evident in his expression. Ilana frowned as she listened to him. That's why. He took out a handgun and placed it under his chin, tears flowing freely as he gazed at Ilana. Don't tell Lily that her dad was a coward. Please. With these words, he pulled the trigger, splattering blood and brain matter across the floor. Ilana stood there motionless, staring at John's lifeless form. There was no expression on her face, just cold indifference. She searched through his body and found his wallet and a mobile phone. She opened the wallet. A picture of a 10-year-old girl smiling brightly greeted her. On the back was written, Lily, Dad's little hero. Ilana let out a sigh, shaking her head sadly. Karma is such a bitch. She took out her knife. I will do you a favor. Make it look like you went down fighting. She began to stab and cut his body, making sure to inflict enough wounds to disguise the suicide. After finishing her work, she took the gun and pointed it at the right door. How long do you think you can hide there? She fired, intentionally missing. Talia. A tall woman stepped out, a stoic expression on her face. She wore a black dress, a mask covering her face, and her hair tied in a tight bun. And here I thought you went rusty after leaving the league. Talia commented nonchalantly. But looks like you still got it. 10 more men dressed as ninjas appeared around her from the shadows like ghosts. Ilana smirked, twirling the knife in her right hand. Oh, you are all grown up, huh? So what brings the League to Gotham? Or are you here for something else? She laughed. Aren't you the curious one? Ilana blinked and appeared behind Talia. Her movement was so fast that the trained assassins didn't even catch it. Her left arm circled Talia's neck, the blade pressed against her throat. She slightly leaned over. Whatever you do, don't even think of looking toward the Waynes. Talia chuckled, unfazed. Don't worry. The League will keep its word till the end. Besides, I am here on a vacation. Ilana blinked toward the exit like a shadow moving through the darkness. Welcome to Gotham. Wayne Enterprises car show. I knew it. Bruce thought as a large yawn escaped his mouth. He hasn't slept in more than 24 hours. Time to start the show. Fire, explosions, dead bodies, stench of burning rubber and flesh. Wayne Enterprises car show turned into a bloodbath. Suicide bombers attacked the event from different directions at once. Somebody shot out all the cameras immediately, Now there was no information on what exactly was going on in the building. No one managed to call the police yet. Everything happened so fast that people hardly had time to understand what was happening. One moment they were admiring cars, another, the ground under their feet shook, deafening explosions followed one after another. And then came screams and gunshots. Everything was in chaos in a blink of an eye. 3 helicopters flew above the area as the assailants zipped down ropes to land on the rooftop of the expo building. A few dozen men with heavy artillery got out of the choppers and started firing down below, while some of them broke through the skylight and rappelled down into the exhibition hall, shooting at random targets. The guards did their best to save the VIP guests, but soon most of them were killed or wounded. People were running away in panic, trying to find shelter and hide from bullets. Thomas and Bruce were among the victims too. They hid behind one of the cars and looked around carefully. "Who are these guys?" Bruce whispered, pressing his back to the bodywork. "They don't look like Black Mask's goons." Bruce was right. Those guys didn't wear masks, nor they were dressed like Sione's henchmen. They wore black military uniforms with no logos. Moreover, unlike Black Mask's men, they were highly professional and well-trained. The weapons they were using weren't your regular guns either. These people knew what they were doing. Thomas noticed that Alfred and Selena were protecting his wife and Maggie from the onslaught. They were hiding behind one of the cars not far away from him and Bruce. He wanted to join them, but he doubted he could make it alive across the shooting gallery. "We need to get to Maggie and your mom," he said quietly. "Just stay put. Let Alana and her men handle them." Bruce nodded at Alana, who was shooting back at the assailants from behind one of the stands. Thomas glanced at his son. Bruce was calm and collected, not showing any signs of fear or panic. Unlike other people, he didn't seem worried at all. He was glancing at his wristwatch from time to time instead. "How long?" Ilana yelled while shooting. "I can't hold them much longer." Bruce pressed something on his watch. 2 minutes tops. 2 minutes. "Are you kidding me?" She fired again, reloading her gun quickly. "You better hurry up." Thomas frowned slightly. What was Bruce talking about? Who was he waiting for? 2 minutes until what exactly? This wasn't the plan. Suddenly, the shooting stopped and a familiar voice came to Thomas's ears. "Come on out, Mr. Wayne. Unless you want me to kill the remaining hostages one by one." Thomas froze. He knew that voice very well. But it couldn't be him, could it? How is that even possible? He died 8 years ago. Thomas saw his corpse himself. He peeked out from behind the car and indeed, Carmine Falcone was standing in the middle of the hall surrounded by his goons. "It can't be. I killed you myself." Thomas mumbled. Carmine noticed him peering out and aimed his RPG launcher at him. "Yes, you did. Now come out, Wayne. Or else." Thomas raised his hands up and slowly walked out of his cover. "I'm coming." He approached Falcone cautiously, glancing at Bruce over his shoulder. "Keep him talking for 2 minutes," Bruce whispered. "Shit." Ilana cursed as she stopped shooting. She has only a single clip left. She raised her hand to sign her men to stand down for now. Thomas nodded imperceptibly. Falcone lowered his weapon and smirked. "Hello, Wayne. Long time no see." "Carmine Falcone. It's been 8 years already," he said calmly. "Well, technically, yes. In reality, I've been here all along. You just didn't notice," Falcone chuckled. Thomas frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" "Oh please, Wayne. Do you really think I'd let you kill me so easily?" He laughed. "I faked my death and disappeared for a while. You and that freaking bats ruined everything I built. My empire, my business, my reputation. So I decided to let you enjoy your victory and bide my time until Gotham will finally become mine again." Thomas remembered that day vividly. After Bruce got shot in the crime alley, he went on a rampage in rage, destroying all the criminal families one after another during the day as the mayor and hunting them as Devilbat at night. Falcone was the last one on his list. He lured him to the Ace Chemicals plant and killed him personally. Back then, Carmine begged for mercy, offering to give up all his wealth and disappear forever, but he still remembers how he stabbed and mutilated his body afterward. "I tortured you and cut off your head." Thomas narrowed his eyes. "I watched you bleed to death." Falcone grinned. "No, Wayne. That wasn't me. Ever heard of brainwashed body doubles? They are especially brainwashed people who think and believe that they are the original person. They have no idea of the reality." Ha 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 ha. Isn't it fun? What about you? Are you real or some body double who thinks he's Carmine Falcone? He asked mockingly. Falcone's smile faded away. That's not funny, Wayne. I am real. But you won't live long enough to find it out. Look at you, Thomas chuckled, his eyes bloodshot. You think you will survive after killing me? That guard of mine will shred your body the moment you kill me, regardless of the safety of the hostages or anyone else. Nah. I don't think so, he grinned. I know how much you love your family. And friends. And employees. So I doubt you'll risk their lives to avenge yourself. Besides, I'm gonna kill them anyway. So what's the point? Ha ha ha. All those people here will die tonight, Wayne. But. The big but. Oh, I hate cliches, but I simply cannot resist, he paused theatrically. But, only if you give it to me. I will only kill you and your family. The rest of them, I will let them live. Are you the one behind the black mask? He asked suspiciously. Falcone sighed tiredly. Stop stalling, Wayne. Give me what I want. Otherwise, everyone dies. And what is it that you want? Thomas narrowed his eyes. The sketchbook, he smirked. Give it to me. So these bastards are after the blueprints of the arc reactor, Bruce thought angrily. But to think they would kill so many just for that. Damn psychopaths. Bruce checked his watch. 10 more minutes. Don't do it, boss. Ilana yelled suddenly. Don't give it to him. Falcone pointed his launcher at his family. Shut up, bitch. Or else, I will blow them up to pieces. Ilana clenched her teeth angrily and stopped talking. Bruce stole a glance at Selena and gave her a nod. She slipped into the shadows while the goons were focused on Thomas and Falcone. Who's the mole? He asked as his eyes fell on the second floor. He caught sight of a woman in a black suit, climbing through the shadows and moving to the top of the building using a grappling gun. Thanks to them destroying the spotlights, the darkness around her was providing her enough cover to sneak undetected. The sketchbook. Falcone extended his hand. Where is it? You want this? Bruce took out an old sketchbook from his tuxedo jacket and showed it to Falcone. Bruce. Don't do it. Thomas glared at his son sternly. Bruce? Ha ha ha. Bruce Wayne. The reason everything happened. He ran over to him and snatched the book from him, is because of you. Look around you, so many died today. Because of you. Falcone laughed maniacally. Bruce stared at him indifferently. Ha, died. He took out a remote from his pocket and pressed a button. Ever heard of 3D holographic projection? That doesn't sound right, whatever. I will improve and name it later. Ahem. He cleared his throat. Everything you saw today was staged. Everyone is fine. No one died. Even all the cars are fake. Just mere illusions. Well, except for some. You made our job easier without even realizing it. His eyes went toward the few dead board members of the Wayne Enterprise and a few dead owls. Everything went according to plan, except for Falcone's appearance. Although Thomas and Bruce knew about the attack beforehand, they couldn't predict everything, not after they took care of the bombs and Black Mask's gang. So, they devised a last-minute plan. A perfect show to welcome the enemies with open arms. A trap within a trap. What? Holograms. Falcone was stunned as he tried to quickly detonate the bombs. Why aren't the bombs going off? Where are the dead bodies? I want them all dead. Kill them. Now. The hell is going on here? Ilana and the guards were confused. Even Martha, Maggie, and Alfred were surprised. They didn't know anything about the staged scenario. 26 hours before the car show, after defusing the bombs, Bruce felt something was off. Everything was going too easy, almost unnaturally easy. It was as if someone wanted him and everyone to think that they won the day and eliminated the enemy. Everything indicated that the trouble was over. Things went too easy. Bruce called Selena as he made his way back to his research warehouse. Hello, Bruce. What is it? Selena asked him with concern as she was watching the news on her laptop about the chain explosions around the industrial district. Sending you the address. Sneak out and meet me there. He sent the coordinates of his research lab. It's time. On my way. She replied after a brief pause. The lab was close to Wayne Manor, just a 15-minute walk. She slipped up from her bed, put on some clothes, and rushed there, getting to the place in no time. Bruce was already waiting there, drinking a cup of coffee near his computer, running some codes. Wow. What the is this? Selena's eyes widened as she saw the armor standing not far away. You like it? He asked casually, pointing at his creation. This is the Mark II armor. Fully functional, fully combat ready. Took me and Fox several sleepless nights, but worth every minute. Selena walked closer and touched the armor carefully. It was huge and quite scary looking. Although she helped him build it, she never thought it would look like this in the end. So, she turned around to face him. So, Black Mask is dead and I took down his entire empire. You must have seen the news by now. Problem is, it's not over. Something doesn't feel right. Bruce sipped on his coffee. What do you mean? She crossed her hands on her chest. The bombs were too easy to disarm. The info on the warehouses was too easy to get, and someone assassinated Black Mask before I could get the name of the main villain. Everything feels staged, he explained briefly. Selena frowned. Do you think someone wants to eliminate Black Mask and his gang so that they can use him as a distraction? You know, like gang takeover and all. Bruce shrugged. Possible. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. This smells fishy for sure. That's why I need help. They should be here any minute now. Let's wait. Selena went behind Bruce's chair and put her chin on his head, looking at the screen. What are you doing? Running some codes to make a new tech. We don't have much time left. He entered some commands and opened several windows with complicated codes and algorithms. She didn't understand much of that gibberish, but she still read the text lines out loud. Realistic holographic projections. Image manipulation software. Disguise modulator. What is that? He smirked. Something brilliant. Kitty cat. Something brilliant. She rolled her eyes. You and your ego. And here I was planning to give you that armor, sad. Guess I'll keep it for myself, he teased her. Selena vaulted over him. He extended his hands. Her hands on his, her face before him. She is upside down, she smiled seductively. You wouldn't do that, would you? Bruce leaned closer and kissed her lips. Would I? She giggled. You wouldn't. Kiss me. He whispered. She obeyed and kissed him again in that awkward upside-down position. Their kiss was short and sweet. Their intimate moment was interrupted by the sound of the doorbell. Selena jumped down acrobatically and walked toward the door. She looked at the small screen next to the entrance and saw Thomas and Fox standing outside. Open the door, Selena. Bruce told her as he typed something on his keyboard. She pressed a button and the metal doors slid aside, letting them in. You sneaked out, huh? Thomas looked at Selena. It seems that son of mine really needs some help from us. Yup, looks like it, she replied as she closed the door. Fox walked over to Bruce and looked at the screen. It seems you have already started working on our project, Bruce. Of course, we don't have much time. He saved the progress and closed all the windows on his computer. All right. Let's talk business. Selena sat down on the sofa nearby and listened to their conversation while Bruce briefed Thomas and Fox about his theory and suspicions. But her eyes went toward the place the armor was supposed to be. It wasn't there anymore. She looked at Bruce wanting to ask him about it, but he gave her a slight nod. Ah, he is hiding it from Dad, she thought. So you think there's more to Black Mask's attacks than meets the eye? Thomas rubbed his chin thoughtfully. You think someone manipulated Black Mask and his gang to attack us and destroyed his entire organization afterwards so that they can step into the power vacuum? Bruce shrugged. Like I said, I don't know. Could be. Possibly. Probability. Something doesn't smell right. There's someone bigger pulling the strings behind the scenes. Any ideas on who might be the mastermind? Fox asked him curiously. Nope. They shot him dead before he could tell me. Bruce shook his head. Wait. How the hell did you meet Black Mask? And did you go alone? Weren't you with Fox? Thomas frowned slightly. Fox coughed awkwardly. Selena snorted while Bruce ignored them completely. All right. I will explain it later. Right now, we need a plan. Well, I got a plan to lure them out. He typed something on his keyboard and brought up a 3D holo projection of Wayne Enterprises' car show venue. Here. Take a look. After listening to Bruce's plan, Thomas and Fox agreed with him. Thomas called every single person on the invitation list and changed the location and date of the show, except for the board members. He asked them to keep it a secret as their life might be in danger. This is the perfect time to weed out traitors and probably get rid of some board members. A perfect time to take control back. Jarvis hacked into Wayne Enterprises' system and transferred all the shares held by the board members to Selena, Maggie, and Fox. With Thomas holding 65%, no one can oppose him anymore. This plan is nuts. Selena thought as she listened to them. What about the paperwork and votes? Thomas asked Bruce skeptically. They will raise questions. Jarvis, show us how the board members sold their shares and voted for Lucius Fox as the temporary CEO. Bruce commanded his AI assistant. The hollow projections showed them how Jarvis forged the paperwork and manipulated the votes. Thomas and Fox were impressed. Oh, there's something more. Bring up the stock prices. Bruce ordered Jarvis. Stock prices of Wayne Enterprise skyrocketed after Selena, Fox, and Maggie bought all the available shares on the market. Thomas whistled. Damn. I guess we own the company now. How did you pull this off, Bruce? Fox also wanted to know. Easy. Jarvis created fake buyers and purchased all the shares, he explained briefly. Now, Wayne Enterprises board members own nothing, which means no voting rights anymore. Also, Fox will assume a temporary CEO position. Dope, right? Thomas and Fox exchanged glances and nodded at Bruce approvingly. But where the hell did you get so much money to buy all those stocks? Thomas arched his brows. He smirked, obviously, from the board members. He brought the account details of the board members and showed them. Every single penny owned by them now belongs to Wayne Enterprise. Jarvis took them for a ride. Thomas burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. You genius little devil. Ha ha ha. Serves them right. Fox joined Thomas in laughter. Ha. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Bruce smiled proudly. You should thank Jarvis too. And let's not forget about the holographic projections and disguise modulators. You made me and Maggie big shareholders of Wayne Enterprise? Selena stared at Bruce incredulously. For free? Why? Do I need a reason? Bruce shrugged. And I know what you are going to say next. So don't. Thomas ruffled Selena's hair. You are my family now, Selena. Of course, you deserve it. Maggie too. Thank you for trusting us, she blushed slightly. Fox patted Bruce's back. Good job, Bruce. He smirked. I know. I am awesome. Selena rolled her eyes. Egoist. Thomas and Fox laughed again. Well, let's get on building the holographic projectors and disguise modulators, Fox suggested. Bruce nodded. Jarvis, send the instructions. Let's get started. They spent almost 24 hours preparing everything for the upcoming trap. Thomas canceled all his meetings and asked Alana to handle things in his absence. Selena, although she doesn't know much about tech stuff, still helped Bruce as much as she could during the testing process. Fox worked together with Jarvis to finish everything in time. Thomas provided the material and resources required. Here you go, eat up. Selena prepared sandwiches and coffee for them. Can't work on an empty stomach. Thank you. Thomas grabbed one sandwich and bit into it hungrily. Delicious. Thanks. Fox also thanked her and ate his sandwich. Bruce accepted the coffee mug from her and drank half of it in one gulp. Perfect. Just the way I love it. She smiled softly. Glad you liked it. Thomas and Fox finished their breakfast and continued working on the devices. 6 hours before the car show. Well, looks so real. Fox tested the holographic projection device. Thomas looked at the illusion. Indeed. Amazing. Things went easy thanks to the new projectors the R&D department developed recently. Bruce pointed out proudly. Now to put things in place. Don't worry. I asked Alana to take care of things. She will bring an army of disguised VIPs to the show to fill up the venue. So, feel free to install them wherever you want, Thomas informed them. Bruce nodded. Cool. Jarvis, show me the venue layout. A 3D hollow projection of the venue appeared before him. Jarvis highlights the locations where we should install these projectors. Blue marks appeared on the projection, showing them the positions. Bruce handed Thomas and Fox the devices. You guys install them. Selena and I will go home. Need to catch some quick sleep. Selena and Bruce went back home since they didn't want their mom to get worried about them. Thomas and Fox stayed back at Bruce's lab to finish the preparations. Meanwhile, Jarvis hacked into every possible CCTV camera installed around Gotham City and looped the recordings to prepare for the upcoming event. Is that what they were installing around the place? Ilana wondered as she stared at a camouflaged 3D holographic projector hidden underneath the floor panels and around the building. Dang. How the heck did I not notice it? I am trained to sense humans, but... Her eyes went toward one of the broken panels. She noticed a vibrating motor, generating heartbeats and various noises. It seems my training is lacking. Selena finally reached the rooftop. She used her razor-sharp whip to kill the snipers, slicing their heads right off and almost cutting their bodies in half. Shoot her. Falcone's goons started firing at Selena, but it was futile. The Iron Man armor flew down before her, shielding her from the bullets. It opened, allowing her to slip inside. The attackers scattered away in panic. They fired machine guns and automatic cannons at the armor from helicopters, but the shots just bounced off its armor. Ha ha ha. Selena laughed as her armor shot energy beams from its palm cannons at the helicopters. Each blast pierced through the fuselage, causing them to crash one by one. Die, you bitches! She yelled as the armor flew down and started slaughtering Falcone's men mercilessly. Give me manual weapon control, Jarvis, and you take control of the flight, she ordered. Jarvis gave her control over the weapon system. Mini shoulder-mounted target-seeking missiles launched from both sides of the armor and started blowing up Falcone's goons one after another. Falcone stood there baffled as his men were getting slaughtered mercilessly by the flying armor. Boss. We should retreat. One of his goons grabbed his arm and pulled him away urgently. Falcone snapped out of his daze, but it was too late. Thomas dashed in front of him and threw a powerful punch to the face. Damn it. Gah. Blood spewed out of his nose as he aimed the RPG launched at Martha and the others. I will take them down with me. But an energy beam severed his right arm from his shoulder before he could pull the trigger. Falcone dropped the launcher as he screamed in pain. Another beam disintegrated his legs. He fell down, screaming in agony. Bruce walked over to him leisurely. He grabbed his hair, pulled his face up, and looked into his eyes. 10 years. You took away freaking 10 years from me. I was in a freaking coma for 10 freaking years. He smashed his face on the floor and pulled him up again. 10 freaking years. Thanks to you. He punched his face repeatedly, breaking Falcone's teeth and disfiguring his face. I could have done so much. Instead, I was lying in bed for 10 freaking years. Bruce. Stop it. Thomas grabbed his hand. That's enough. Don't get in my way. He pushed his father away violently, raging like a teenage boy. It was the first time he had shown such an outburst of anger. It was very unlike of him. Sparks of purple lightning flickered around his body. The lightning ring around his finger glowed brightly. Is it stimulating his emotions? Or maybe he has been waiting for this moment to crush the bastard who took away the most precious time of his life. Bruce kicked Falcone in the stomach, making him spit out blood. This bastard deserves to suffer. He stomped on his chest hard, breaking his ribs. 10 years of my life. Gone. He stomped again. 10 years. Of my youth. Gone. He kept kicking him repeatedly. 10 years. 10 freaking years. 10 freaking years. His punches became stronger and faster with each strike. 10 years. And you didn't even know he was alive all this time. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he kept punching Falcone mindlessly. All his hatred, anger, resentment, every negative emotion he locked deep inside his heart exploded all at once. Bruce was venting out all his frustrations. Thomas tried to pin him down, but the sparks of lightning around his body repelled him away. I gave up on revenge after I heard you were dead, but you just had to come out before my eyes again. Threatening my family again. Trying to harm them again. Shit. Bruce grabbed Falcone's neck and choked him. You shouldn't have done that. You should have stayed in your little hiding hole. But don't you worry. I'll make sure to squeeze every ounce of suffering you made me go through out of you. Falcone coughed blood as Bruce choked him harder. He couldn't breathe anymore. His ribs shattered, face swollen beyond recognition, internal organs damaged. Falcone was dying. Bruce loosened his grip slightly. I'm not gonna let you die. Not yet. First, you will watch your men die before your eyes. You must be thinking about what went wrong, right? Why none of your bombs go off? How we know about your attack? Yeah, keep thinking that. He looked up at Selena in armor. Kill the remaining ones. Don't do it. You will become a murderer. Thomas grabbed his son's hand again, despite the sparks. I don't want my son to walk the same path I have walked once. Martha rushed toward him and hugged her son tightly. Bruce, please stop it. She sobbed as tears streamed down her face. Don't become a killer. Please. I can never understand the pain you are going through. No one can, but killing him won't bring you peace either. Bruce remained silent. Martha hugged him tighter. Please. Slowly, sparks of lightning vanished. He dropped Falcone and buried his face in his mother's bosom, crying silently. Falcone, with his dying breath, somehow took out a grenade from his pocket while gurgling blood. But Ilana and Selena noticed it. Ilana blinked in like a shadow, grabbed the grenade, and threw it in the sky, while Selena incinerated Falcone with a plasma beam instantly. His body turned into ashes in a split second. Don't even think about it, bastard. Selena landed on his ashes. Boom. The grenade exploded in the sky. Thomas hugged Bruce too. I'm sorry. He patted his son's back gently. I failed as a father. I couldn't protect you back then. I'm sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to. Bruce mumbled weakly. I know. You don't have to apologize. Martha kissed his forehead lovingly. My son suffered so much. She hugged him tightly again. Selena landed nearby in armor and opened the helmet. Bruce. She never thought that he was in pain all this time. I should have known. I knew you were in pain. 10 years of resentment. But I am just glad everyone is all right. She sighed in relief to see everyone unharmed. It was a risky plan, but in the end, it worked perfectly. 2 days later, Thomas, as the mayor, took care of the situation. He publicly announced the event as a big terrorist attack orchestrated by Falcone Cartel, stating how GCPD and the Special Ops successfully took down the threat without any casualties. They have also found Black Mask's dead body from an old construction site and Penguin's dead body from his manor. The media praised the city officials and Gotham PD for thwarting a big terrorist attack without letting it spread further. 3 dangerous criminals died within one night. Everyone celebrated the victory over crime lords. The news of Falcone, Penguin, and Black Mask being killed reached the underworld, instilling fear among small-time criminals and street gangs. Even some big gangs who were planning to enter Gotham City backed out immediately. Thomas Wayne, the mayor, became even more popular overnight. Location: unknown. The group of metahumans that Penguin hired to take over Gotham before his death gathered in an underground secret base located somewhere in Gotham. What now? Those bastards are dead. A man sitting on the shoulder of a giant mutated man complained. Shall we burst into his mansion, Mark? He patted the giant man's cheek. I burst walls. Mark nodded childishly. Another guy covered entirely in flames scoffed. Are you dumbass? What if that new armor freak comes after us? They didn't mention it in the news, but you saw it, right? Him strong. Mark shook his head. A woman wearing a black hoodie sat cross-legged on the floor, sharpening her dagger. It's useless. The boss is dead. There's nothing we get from working with him anyway. She said indifferently. Mark lightly slapped her head. You know, speak bad. She glared at him. Damn you, fatty. Let's just get on our separate ways. A man covered in green scales shrugged. There's nothing for us here anymore. Penguin is dead. Falcone is dead. Black Mask is dead. The flaming man nodded. Yeah, let's just leave. Mark grabbed the scale guy and shook his head. No go. Friends stay. As they were talking about what to do next, a flash of yellow lightning appeared right in the middle of the hall. A man dressed in a yellow spandex-like costume appeared out of thin air. Everyone jumped back in shock. Mark roared loudly, "Friend hurt." He threw a punch at the costumed man instinctively, but the speedster dodged with ease. Mark, stop. The guy on his shoulder tapped his giant friend's cheek again. The costumed man chuckled. Relax, guys. I'm not here to fight. His entire body was vibrating and was like a haze, impossible to see clearly. I heard you were looking for a job. Flaming Man frowned. Who the hell are you? You can call me Reverse Flash, the speedster replied. 4 years later. It's been 4 years since Falcone died. Wayne Enterprise regained its lost glory in no time. Its business expanded internationally, becoming one of the leading companies in the world. Bruce took over the R&D department of Wayne Enterprise, while Thomas let Fox handle the company as a temporary CEO. Martha continued her charity work as usual. Selena took her place beside Bruce as his personal assistant and guard. Maggie has opened her first restaurant and become one of the youngest chef masters in Gotham City. Everyone was living their lives happily. Falcone's death brought peace to Gotham City. Crime rates lowered significantly. Police started solving crimes actively without worrying about being threatened or bribed. Thomas noticed that the slum areas were the breeding grounds for crime and decided to transform them. So, he decided to take certain steps to prevent the crimes while providing the people with new opportunities. The slums went over a massive change as the expanding Wayne enterprises started demolishing old dilapidated buildings and constructing new skyscrapers. The people were shifted to different buildings and were provided with job opportunities. He was clear, either work and earn like an honest person or get thrown out of Gotham City. The older people who couldn't work were sent to old-age homes and the orphans to orphanages where they would get proper education and care. He also hired many psychiatrists to rehabilitate criminals. Criminals who agreed to change their ways were given jobs while those unwilling were sent to Blackgate Prison, Arkham Asylum, or killed if deemed necessary. Old people who don't have anyone to look after. Slowly, the slums transformed into modern high-end residential areas. Thomas wanted Gotham City to prosper and become a better place to live in. He was doing everything he could to achieve that goal. As for the car show that day, the Batmobiles were successfully showcased to the public, gaining the Wayne enterprise more fame. Many orders came pouring in afterward. The Batmobile became a popular model in no time, earning Thomas lots of money. There were two versions. One was for the regular people with money, and the other was the armored version reserved for the police and military only. Wayne Manor went under massive changes too. Thomas renovated it completely. The mansion now looked luxurious and majestic with tall walls surrounding it. The garden was filled with exotic plants and flowers imported from different countries. Martha loved gardening, and Thomas loved spoiling her. Bruce purchased land near Wayne Manor and constructed a huge underground facility. That facility was his research lab, which he named Bat Cave. Well, it's under Fox's name and only 3 people know about its existence. Fox, Selena, and Bruce. The construction of the Wayne Tower began recently. Thomas planned to construct the tallest building in Gotham City. Well, it will take some time to finish it. The arc reactor they built years ago to counter the Black Mask's plan was now used as the power source for the Wayne enterprise. Gordon received a promotion after Falcone's demise. He became the commissioner of Metropolis and had to shift there with Barbara. He was hesitant at first, but Barbara, now 18 years old, wanted to attend Metropolis University. So, he accepted the transfer. She was studying computer science and cybersecurity there. As for what Thomas's reaction was after learning about the armor, well, he and Bruce had a long chat in private where Bruce explained his goal of making a League of Heroes. He wanted his father to fund his experiments, and since he is the mayor, he could easily cover up for his son and prevent the GCPD from interfering. Thomas sighed after hearing his son's dream and stood up. He walked over to the bookcase in his study room and pressed a hidden switch. A secret door opened. Follow me. A hidden door. As I thought, he must be the Devil Bat. I will know it in a few moments. Bruce followed behind silently. Thomas led him to a large basement below Wayne Manor. His eyes widened after seeing all the suits lined on the wall. 6 different suits made with different materials and with different designs. The last one looked like an unused prototype. It looked bulky, unlike the others which looked sleek. These are my vigilante suits, Thomas pointed at the suits. After that night in the crime alley, I had to do something that I couldn't do as the mayor. Bruce nodded and said, "You became a vigilante." "Yes." "Took down all the crime families. Killed some in rage." He turned toward Bruce. "That's why I stopped you that night from killing Falcone, because I know the burden of taking someone's life. You won't be able to sleep peacefully anymore." Bruce looked at him and replied, "I think it's the opposite. Knowing that the city is safe and the criminals aren't any more to cause trouble makes me sleep peacefully." Thomas shook his head. "Let's hope you never have to kill anyone else anymore in the future." He then walked toward a glass case and brushed his fingers on it. Because once you get past a certain point, there is no turning back. You won't be able to live peacefully without the urge to kill someone. Inside the glass case was a bat suit covered with dust. He picked a cloth nearby and wiped it clean. "You knew?" he asked. "Yeah. Considering the power of the armor, it was you, wasn't it? You blew up Black Mask's warehouses that night and discovered the bombs. The survivors said something about a man in bat armor, and some said they saw a flying robot. Thomas recalled the testimony of the captured criminals from Penguin's mansion and the warehouses. Well, no point hiding then. I killed them because they were planning on killing countless innocent civilians. Since I killed some hardcore lunatic killers, does that make me a killer too? Bruce asked as he sat on a chair nearby. No, you prevented deaths. You saved thousands of innocent people. But this world isn't fair, you see. To some you will be a hero while to others you will be a villain. Thomas put his hand on his son's shoulder and said, "That's why, you need to be careful, Bruce. Don't let the darkness swallow you. Otherwise, one day you might end up killing innocents just because you feel like it. I know that feeling, believe me." I guess he had his fair share of nightmares. But I can't let these criminals run around freely and kill innocent people. Bruce thought before replying. Then what should I do? Ignore crimes. Thomas smiled and removed the dusty cloth covering the advanced computer. No, why must you kill when you can make the criminals kill each other? Don't bloody your hand more than necessary. Use your brain, son. Manipulate criminals and drive them crazy. Hold one of them at gunpoint and make them kill their boss. Once the head is gone, the body will fall apart. Bruce stared at him for a moment before smiling. Sounds interesting. I didn't expect you to have such dark ideas, Dad. Looks like you were pretty active during your youth. Haha. I know I shouldn't be giving such ideas to my son, let alone allow him to jump into danger, but you will do it anyway no matter what I say. So rather than stopping you, I will support you. Just make sure you don't get hurt or your mom will kill us both. Thomas patted Bruce's shoulder. Thanks, Dad. Well, enough chit-chat. Let me show you what I've been working on lately. Thomas turned on the computer and typed some commands. An encrypted video folder opened. Meta-humans. Bruce exclaimed after watching the videos inside. Yeah, some are criminals, some are hiding as regular humans, he replied as his eyes fell on an old black and white footage of a woman in armor. It was from the World War II era. She was tearing apart tanks like paper using her bare hands. And some are ancient. That's Wonder Woman, Bruce thought, remembering reading about her in comics in his past life. In the heart of Wayne Enterprises' R&D department, Bruce and Selina were amidst the familiar bustle, shuffling through their usual tasks. Amidst the humming machines and scattered blueprints, a spark of excitement danced in the air, a magnetic pull between two souls. As they navigated through their daily routines, Bruce couldn't shake off the anticipation brewing inside him. He wants to spend a special moment with Selina. With the new VR tech in development, they have been too busy for the last few weeks. With a charming smile, he turned toward her, clad in his usual sleek attire, his gaze filled with warmth and eagerness. Hey. She glanced up from the files in hand, donning her work attire, a crisp white shirt, accompanied by a gray pencil skirt and black heels. Her lips curled into a sweet smile. What is it, Bruce? It's been a while, he began, leaning casually against his desk. How about we head out for lunch today? Maybe somewhere different, away from the usual spots. She raised a brow, her playful gaze meeting his. Oh? Feeling adventurous today, are we, Mr. Wayne? Inviting your assistant on an outing. She chuckled softly, closing the file folder she was holding. You're full of surprises. Maybe a little, he replied, a glint of mischief in his eyes. I'd love to spend more time with you, Selina. Away from all this. His gaze trailed across the lab, where scientists and researchers went about their work, absorbed in their respective tasks. A soft chuckle escaped her lips. Well, who am I to say no to that? I'd be happy to join you, Mr. Wayne. She emphasized his name playfully, shooting him a knowing grin. Formal, are we, Ms. Kyle? Well then, shall we? He extended his arm, offering her a gentlemanly gesture. With a soft giggle, Selina placed a gentle hand on his arm. We shall. And so, with the pleasant exchange completed, Bruce led them out of the busy lab and toward the parking lot. As they made their way to his car, she couldn't help but notice a slight spring in his step, a sense of excitement emanating from him. As they settled into the car, she couldn't help but wonder where he would take her. So, what do you want for lunch? He asked as he started the engine, a playful tone in his voice. She tilted her head, tapping her chin thoughtfully. You haven't thought when you invited me, have you? She teased. He simply flashed her a boyish grin, guilty as charged. Selina let out a soft laugh. Well, how about Italian? There's this great little place just outside the city center. Their lasagna is to die for," she suggested enthusiastically. He nodded in agreement. Italian it is, then. And with that, they were off, cruising down the streets of Gotham City. He occasionally glanced at her as she was humming along to the radio, while looking outside with a happy smile on her face. It warmed his heart, seeing her so carefree and relaxed. "You know, I miss those days we used to drink wine on the roof, hiding from Alfred, watching the stars together," she said, reminiscing. Bruce chuckled fondly. Those were good times indeed. Alfred almost caught us with beer bottles hidden under our coats more than once. Selina laughed. "Yeah, and remember when we tried to convince him we were drinking sparkling cider?" He shook his head, smiling at the memory. "I'll never forget the look on his face when he found out." "Haha. He always knew when we were up to something," she reminisced. They both shared a moment of comfortable silence, basking in the nostalgia of their past adventures. The ride continued pleasantly, filled with light-hearted conversations and laughter. Bruce found himself enjoying her company more than ever before. It was as if he had been missing her presence all along in his busy schedule. After some time, they arrived at their destination, a cozy little Italian restaurant nestled among the hustle and bustle of Gotham City. Upon entering, the delicious aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering sauces greeted them. The ambience was warm and inviting, with dim lighting and soft music playing in the background. The waiter welcomed them cheerfully. "Private room, please," Bruce requested politely. "Right this way, sir." They followed the waiter to a private dining area, which was decorated with simple yet elegant furniture, giving the space a homey feel. They sat down at a table for two, and the waiter promptly handed them menus. Bruce glanced around the room, admiring the tasteful decor and cozy atmosphere. He turned to Selina. "This place looks lovely, doesn't it?" She nodded in agreement. "It does. I've never been here before, but it seems like a really nice spot. No wonder. Kathy always brags about this place." He smiled. "Kathy? That brunette with curly hair." She replied, "The one and only." They perused the menus, taking their time to decide on their orders. After much deliberation, they decided on the lasagna and garlic bread, with a bottle of red wine to accompany their meal. Once their food arrived, Bruce wasted no time digging in, savoring the rich flavors of the lasagna and garlic bread. Selina followed suit, enjoying every bite of her meal. They exchanged idle chatter as they ate, laughing and joking throughout their meal. "I mean, how do you keep up with her endless chatter?" he inquired playfully, sipping his wine. She chuckled. "Believe me, I ask myself that question every day." Their conversation flowed easily, filled with humor and affection. Bruce found himself drawn to Selina more than ever, captivated by her wit and charm. She has this unique aura around her that makes him feel calm and at ease, as if nothing else mattered but her presence. As they finished their meals, Bruce reached over to pour another glass of wine for Selina. His eyes fell on her left hand on the table. He put his palm above hers gently, brushing his fingers over hers slowly, caressing her knuckles tenderly. She felt her heart skip a beat, feeling the warmth of his touch on her skin. She looked up to meet his gaze, noticing the intensity behind his blue eyes. A blush crept onto her cheeks, heat rising in her chest. Both of them slowly leaned closer to each other, drawn by an invisible force, unable to resist the magnetic pull between them any longer. Her gaze lingered on his lips, desire flickering in her green irises. Their lips brushed together tentatively at first, tasting each other slowly, savoring the sweetness of their kiss. Selina sighed softly against his mouth, deepening the kiss, her fingers tangling in his dark locks. Bruce responded eagerly, wrapping his arms around her waist, pulling her closer to him. Their passion grew heated, their kisses becoming more fervent, exploring each other hungrily. Their hands roamed freely, caressing each other's bodies through their clothes, eliciting soft moans of pleasure from both of them. Bruce broke the kiss reluctantly, gasping for air, resting his forehead against hers, gazing into her emerald orbs longingly. "Selina," he whispered breathlessly, his voice heavy with emotion. She cupped his cheek gently, stroking his jawline tenderly. "Bruce." Their gazes are locked, filled with longing and desire, conveying their feelings without words. They remained embraced for a few moments longer, reveling in each other's closeness, basking in the afterglow of their passionate kiss. "I want you to take me tonight," she uttered softly, her voice thick with desire. It's been a while since they've been intimate, both consumed by work recently, leaving little time for intimacy. Bruce nodded, pressing his lips against hers once more, capturing her mouth in another passionate kiss. "I am gonna ravish you tonight," he vowed huskily, his voice laced with promise. Selena shivered in anticipation, desire burning within her core, aching for his touch. Bruce paid the bills, and they made their way back to the company to wrap up their work before evening. Selena noticed Bruce stealing glances at her as he drove the car. "Eyes on the road, mister," she warned playfully. He smirked mischievously, "Yes, ma'am." They soon arrived at Wayne Enterprises headquarters, returning to their desks to finish up their work for the day. Bruce worked diligently, focusing on completing his tasks efficiently, eager to return home with Selena later. Meanwhile, Selena stole glances at him, admiring his handsome profile, excitement bubbling within her. Soon, they wrapped up their work for the day. The workers left the building as the clock struck 6:30 p.m. Bruce checked the security feeds and locked the building. It was time to reorganize things before leaving. Selena was arranging some documents neatly as usual. Noticing her bend down to pick up the pen from the floor, he couldn't help but feel a rush. He turned off the cameras. Bruce came behind her and wrapped his arms around her slender waist, kissing the nape of her neck tenderly. She gasped softly, leaning into his embrace, relishing his warmth and proximity. "What are you doing?" His lips traveled along her exposed collarbone, peppering soft kisses on her porcelain skin, eliciting a low moan from her lips. "Can't resist touching you after our moment. Missed you all this while." He nuzzled her neck affectionately. "I want you right now, right here." Selena chuckled, turning around to face him, wrapping her arms around his broad shoulders. "Here? In the office? Bruce Wayne, you're naughty, aren't you?" she teased playfully. Bruce gazed deeply into her emerald orbs, filled with longing and desire. "Only for you." He captured her lips in a searing kiss, his hands roaming freely over her curves, exploring her body eagerly. She started unbuttoning his shirt as he did hers, exposing their bare chests to each other, desire coursing through their veins. He scooped her up effortlessly, her wagon in his palms, as she wrapped her legs around his waist instinctively. Their tongues danced passionately as Bruce carried her toward the sofa in his office, laying her down gently, hovering over her. Their gazes are filled with lust and longing, their breaths ragged and uneven, their hearts pounding in unison. "You have been working out despite the busy schedule, huh?" Selena's fingers traced his abs delicately, sending shivers down his spine. Her fingers went toward his belt buckle, unfastening it swiftly. He quickly took off his pants, leaving only his boxers on, his arousal straining against the fabric. Selena bit her lower lip seductively, admiring his sculpted physique, desire pooling in her core. She turned around. "Care to lend me a hand?" With pleasure, Bruce unhooked her bra, throwing it aside, revealing her soft back. He kissed her shoulder tenderly, his hands cupping her bosom from behind, massaging them gently, eliciting a soft moan from her lips. Bruce trailed hot, wet kisses along her spine, relishing her sweet scent, his tongue tracing her curves teasingly. "Mum," she moaned, arching her back slightly, craving more of his touch. Bruce's fingers hooked on the hem of her skirt, sliding it down her creamy thighs sensually. He tossed her skirt aside, exposing her black undies, soaked wet. "Someone is dripping wet already." Bruce nibbled her earlobe playfully, whispering huskily, his voice dripping with lust. Selena smirked seductively. "Only for you, Mr. Wayne." "Glad to know that, Ms. Kyle."
And that concludes this episode. If you enjoyed it, I'd seriously love it if you guys could leave a like on the video, as it genuinely helps out so much, and it keeps me going, plus it takes only 1 second. That said, have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.